This is another episode of Good Earners reviewing The Sopranos. For those who have been here, welcome back. For those who are new, welcome to this podcast of ours. Here on our review, our style, our swagger, when we review The Sopranos, we like to do it a little different. On this show, we're talking about family, finances, finessing, and feelings in the world of Tony Soprano, bringing you a new perspective, a fly perspective, and most importantly, a black perspective. This week, we'll be reviewing season 2, episode 8, Full Leather Jacket. Spike Lou, can you give us a synopsis of this episode?
Absolutely. What up, Mo? I sure can. In this episode, Full Leather Jacket, Carmela flexes her muscles and shows her persistence as she tries to get a recommendation letter to Georgetown for Meadow. Chris and Beavis and Butthead hit licks on a rash of safe heists that don't pay off like they want them to, and Richie gives Tony a prized possession of his, but Tony struggles to find the value in it. This is episode 8 of season 2, Full Leather Jacket.
All right, thank you. We get into our first scene. It's a family dinner at the Soprano house, and they're talking about Meadows' friend Hunter and her college acceptance, and they're having a big conversation about whether Meadow will go to Georgetown or Berkeley, and Tony has kind of an issue about her going to Berkeley and paying for it. What are some pieces that you gathered from this, Rich?
Well, Tony has an issue with, and Carmela for that matter, they have an issue with Berkeley because, they're conservative. Going out to Berkeley, going out there, that's a liberal, San Francisco, that's a liberal area. That's San Francisco, Oakland. He made the comment of Nobel Peace winners, and I ain't going to repeat it, but you know what I mean? Like, that's just how they view it. And we know, you can see from Carmela's excitement, all the schools that Carmela named, all the universities, they're Catholic universities. We know how important Catholicism is, based off of last week's episode in the confirmation. Georgetown, Notre Dame, all these schools, she wants Meadow to kind of be in that bubble that they created for her. You see it later on with Tony talking about when he has the realization that he's letting her leave the nest, kind of that contrast. But mainly about just Carmela, how excited she is and how she's looking at this for herself more than anything. Yeah, man. I was laughing at AJ, man, in that scene too.
Man, yeah. What about
what
you,
y'all
Spike?
think about that weird ass music? Did that throw y'all like it's like they were trying to tap into Dynasty or some shit like that from the 90s when they came in that way? It was the first time, and I think the only time that they ever did that.
Yeah, this episode is very unique. It's a very unique Sopranos episode. It's the shortest one that's ever been that they ever had.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I gotta ask.
What's up?
Packing fudge. Packing fudge.
I was trying to bring it.
Because I don't know.
Is
this a black thing? Or look, all I'm gonna say is this a black thing? There's something else.
It ain't a black thing.
This is
definitely not a black thing.
Something else, man.
The other thing.
All right, that's say less. That's all I needed to know. I was like,
Spike, you heard me say I wasn't gonna say it, right?
Yeah, I was trying
for
to.
The record, I tried to avoid this moment. Avoid this moment.
You're like 30 seconds in already.
Yeah, that was wild. Tony was in his even before that with the chopstick impersonation. Tony was on one at this dinner.
Hey, this episode got a lot of racism.
Oh,
yes,
sir. A lot of racism.
Absolutely,
yes.
Man.
And to be honest, I'm so here for all of it.
It's a
funny experience.
So racist that you gotta laugh.
Yeah, that pretty much. So you said kind of like how they are and kind of their more open-mindedness and everything, but it's kind of weird to me because it's like, this is the American dream for Tony almost in a way, because it's like my whole objective, that night he was getting drunk and she was like, well, sometimes we're all hypocrites. My whole objective is getting you as far away from this lifestyle as possible. So her going all the way on the other coast of this country doing something totally different, that's kind of the dream. So it's kind of weird to me how I want you to get out of this, but yet not really. That's kind of where I got confused with him. Carmela, I'm still trying to, we'll get through this episode, but I'm still trying to understand. But I definitely seen some things with Carmela this episode that I'm going to bring to light that really resonated with AJ's character. Just to put it that way.
Rich hit on a good point that I really didn't even consider, because I too was like you, Mo. Is like, well, we making enough money. She want to go to Berkeley. Why wouldn't we let her go to Berkeley? It's a real renowned school. But as Rich said, these are all Catholic institutions or whatnot, and they're wanting her to be the prototype, the ideal child. You know what I'm saying? We don't want you going off getting a liberal education as she would anyway do at Columbia. We know later on, but the thought process for Tony and Carmela was like, we want you to be the prototype. Like, we want you to go to a good Catholic school, find a nice Italian husband, and going off to Berkeley kind of throws a monkey wrench in those plans. So that's a good point out, Rich.
Yeah, man. Meadow's probably been in Catholic school her entire life.
Yeah, right. For sure.
You know what I mean? She probably by structure, by design. So
and AJ kind of talks about the colleges he's interested in, and immediately Tony breaks his balls. Like, the closest you're gonna get to that is watching television. Like, so
you know what's funny?
Boy.
Yeah, that was low down. You know what's funny? When I look at this episode, man, it's really about people acting out of character to get their respect. You know, we see a lot of that with multiple characters. We see Carmela, you know, whether that's their true character or not. We see Carmela, we see Richie, we see Beavis and Butthead. They all doing things outside of their character and what we normally see them do, and all in the name of trying to get respect on their name.
Yeah.
And I look at little subtle moments like that, and AJ is a perfect example. Like, acting out of character, Harvard or West Point. What the fuck you talking about? You know what I mean? And he doing it out of, you know, I'm trying to put some respect on my name. I'm trying to go to college too, and they know it's
that is
true. They know it's cap. But
that's a good point.
I love,
like, where'd you even get those names from, bro? Like, where'd you even get that from, AJ? Like, come on, bro.
Like, are you surprised that he even knows what West Point is? Like, West Point is so anti-AJ that it doesn't make any sense, and it's a little bit of foreshadowing.
And I was gonna say a good little setup for something in the future too.
Yes, absolutely. And the next thing, Chris and the young boys, Matt and Sean, Beavis and Butthead, are breaking into a safe. Sean seems to have gotten such a rush that he has to use the bathroom, and Chris tells the information about Big P, saying, "Yo, you know, he started off as a cat burglar." And Sean finds real interest in this, because it's an interesting thing that they find such a level of respect for Big P. They look at him like in high regard. Like, they obviously don't know he's fed, but they look like, oh, really? You know, and they talk about how, like, he got so excited, the adrenaline rush, that he left a log crazy, like a bear size type of crazy log. What did y'all gather from this scene? Because it's so much here to me. But I'll throw the ball in your court, Spike.
Doubling down on crazy log is nuts, first of all.
Crazy log?
Yeah. But, man, this irritated my soul. I hate this every time I see, like, the nigga shitting on a job. Like, all of this just pisses me off for some reason with these two dudes. And if that's what they were going for, then they hit a home fucking run. I hated these dudes, man. I hated even in the future the episode when we see them sitting at their crib. Like, everything about them for me is like, ugh. Like, what the fuck are y'all? This man is shitting on the job, bro. Like, and then he wiped his ass with an old dirty sock. Like, did y'all peep that? Like, he pulled a sock out of nowhere and wiped his ass with it. Like, I hate these dudes.
Well, it wasn't a dirty sock. They're in like a stocking area of this mall looking.
That stock looked dirty though.
It did look dirty though.
Because ain't no more socks in there. It's all stockings. I thought the same thing you did. Hey, maybe that's a sock out of a pack or something, but that sock looked like it was like in a gym bag or some shit like that.
It did, yeah, low key.
I don't even know why he didn't just say had the decency to find a bathroom. Like, you shit on the floor. Like, is that your calling card? I don't know what that's about.
Is this how you want to leave your mark? Like, I was so confused by this every time I watched this.
Yeah.
100%. That had to be what they going for, Spike, because it pisses me off every time too. Every time I see this scene, I think to myself, what the fuck is Chris even doing here with them for?
Why are you with these losers, dude?
Why are you doing this? Like, this is so beneath you. I love the line that Chris had though when Sean's taking the shit and just talking about selling stockings. How many stockings do you think you gotta sell? And Chris is like, how can I express how little I give a fuck?
Letting us know that he feels the same way we do. Like, what the fuck am I doing here with these jerk offs, dude? Like, I don't give a fuck about your stockings and thought processes. So yeah,
Yeah, but this ain't put the battery in their back. Chris told them about when he told them about Big P and told them like when it's your time to step up, you got to step up. I think that mindset kind of stayed with them.
It did.
The way this series processes the story and how it's meant to be and like what they're trying to say throughout the series, and then what people, how they react to that story. We see it several times play out. Like, it's really crazy, the processing of information that some people do in this series.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that was no, you good. That was crazy. And it's like, you know, Christopher, you kind of supposed to graduate. You like still getting your hands dirty with the little homies. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you're not made, but necessarily you got, it's this pyramid scheme almost, this thing of theirs. So it's like you got these guys under you, but no wonder they don't respect you. Like, you literally are having a conversation with a dude who's squatting, you know what I mean, getting a bowel movement while y'all breaking into a safe. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, look at where you are, and then look at Tony, look at Big P. Bro, they laughing at you, kid. Like, straight up.
I mean, I know you got to cut your teeth, but yeah, I agree. Like, why are you there with them?
You could be standing over them and everything. I get
what they say. Yeah, I get what they're trying to say and putting where Chrissy's at, but I still like, I don't get like what you're saying, Maurice. I don't get why you're there with them breaking the safes. Give them the scope, let them do it. Give me my cut. I'm gonna get Tony his cut, and we out of here. I'm not going with you niggas.
Yeah, because he know they not. He knows his vetting process was trash. Like honestly,
they trash.
Yeah,
they couldn't have did it without him.
Yeah, it's like, I can't really, you know what I mean? We see later when he gave him too much space, you see what happened. So, but I think one interesting jewel here is that Big P was like a frontline man for Johnny Soprano. So I thought that was really interesting. I know there's some issues and many saying some Newark about the age. But we won't get on that at this moment. But like the age difference that's supposed to be between Tony and Seal and Big P, there's a like kind of an issue there, like of continuity. But here we just get a little reveal that Big P worked with Johnny, Tony's father, back then. We go over to the Soprano bedroom. Tony's trying to get some sleep, and Carm is up, and she's thinking about what's going to happen with Meadow in this college thing. Carm is getting pretty much, I would feel, a typical parent's anxiety about your kid about to leave the nest, and we find out later that she's 18 or about to be 18. But
she is 18.
She is 18. Okay, so we get that reveal that, yeah, right, because last season she was a junior, I believe. So So, but
she said it later in the episode when Gal was cleaning the room up.
Okay,
she said, I'm 18 now. I'm grown. When they got in an argument.
Okay, that's all I couldn't remember. She's okay. Got you. But what did y'all gather from this scene? Because Carm is kind of trying to figure out. No, we need to make sure she ain't going there. And Tony, like, what do you want me to do? So what did y'all gather from this scene?
Was it a real question? Go ahead.
I was gonna say just really her understanding that it's all about connections. And that's Tony's world, and that's his expertise. You know what I mean? Finding people that you in good with to make something happen. And she realizes Tony doesn't care about it. You know, she's in the National Honor Society, and she's thinking ahead. So she's all right. Let me get things in my own hands. She's gonna flex a little bit. And just her obsession, like I said, this is why people, you can like Carmela 1 second and really hate her the next, because she does all the right things, but she does them for the wrong reasons. And I'll talk more about it as we get into different scenes, but it's just hard to like her because everything, she's so selfish, man. It's all about Carmela. This has nothing to do with Meadow. Usually you would think trying to help your daughter get into college would be about your daughter. It is about Carmela. That shit pisses me off about her.
Oh boy, yeah. she got me hot this episode, but I always
man.
And to that point, she asked the question at the beginning, like, is she trying to get away from us? Like, absolutely, she trying to get away from y'all. Why is that surprising to you? And just like you were talking about Richard, AJ at the table, talking about West Point and Harvard or whatever it may be, it's just like her. You know that, like, Meadow is a different type of child from how you guys have tried to raise her, and even the lifestyle that you guys have. Like, she's different. She is more liberal. So for her to ask that question is about her being in the fantasy fantasy world too. Like, is she trying to get away from us? Absolutely, she is.
Yeah.
She's expressed every interest that we've seen since she's been in the junior high school on this show that she wants to get away from y'all.
Yeah.
Like, why is this a surprise to you? That's crazy.
It is crazy. And this is where the first issue for me with Carmela really starts to show in this episode. It's like and we talked about it in the first season, but it's like, Carm, where is your initiative? Where is your initiative? Like, you sit down and you lean on Tony about quiet as kept. She should have been the one getting AJ's grade turned over in season 1. What was that, the pilot? Or one of the later episodes? But it's like, you should have been the one, because Tony got bigger business to handle and you're leaning on. But I like to Tony, like, what do you want me to do? Like, bro, my blood, sweat, and tears. That's why I really respect the line later that Meadow's going to say, which is a line that Tony says later that I find really funny. But it's like, Carm, this is your affairs. You care too much. If you do, take initiative. What do you want me to do? Lean on, like, go to a college campus and lean on a professor? Like admissions? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just didn't like that. And we'll see later where she doesn't take initiative like that. You just chilling in the cut. So it makes so much sense why. We'll get
this episode. She took a lot of initiative this episode.
But you'll see. She took a lot of initiative, but I'll explain what I mean a little further down.
Okay, bet.
So we go over to the next scene. Seal and Paulie, they meet with Jackie. I mean, not Jackie, but Richie, about Beansy, about building a ramp. I just made a meme about this, but they like, yo, look, this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna build this man a ramp. You ran over him and all that. And this episode, man, Richie needed a stand-up bit because he was getting everything off this episode.
My nigga said, maybe I'll fuck his wife while I'm over
there. While I'm over there. Like, Richie was, I'll build it right up your ass, and I drive a
Lionel up in there.
Drive a Lionel up in there. He was comfortable to the bug.
Richie earned that villain title this season. Like, he made you either, nigga, you gonna love to hate me, nigga.
Yeah.
Man, this shit was funny, bro.
Yeah, man.
And
he was appalled that they were serious.
Oh, yeah. And he
was appalled. He looked like, hold on, y'all being for real?
Yeah.
He couldn't fathom where this was even coming from. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he had to go holler at Tony to make sure, like, are y'all fucking serious?
Yeah.
I guess it was funny as hell.
Man.
And Paulie too, man. We know this not Paulie. Like, if this had been anybody else, I feel like besides Richie, Paulie would have upped on them.
Oh man,
damn near would have been a fight. So
you see Paulie get
respect. Yeah, it shows the respect Richie got too, though. Because like, I feel like anyone else in this series, Paulie would have been like, "Nah, you got me fucked up. You finna build this ramp."
Yes.
So
yeah, this is you're absolutely right. Paulie, he would have got that off if it was anybody else, but he has respect. He probably knew about, he come from that era, so he knows about, Richie. Sylvia a little bit more passive.
I'm from the old school.
Yeah, he's from the old school. So it's like, but I think the funny thing is like, while he's making a joke and he's kind of getting it off laughing, they're not. So it really speaks to, you still think that you're equal with us, but you're not. And we do get the reveal here that he's been, I don't know if they gave it to him right away or what, but he's a capo now. So we do get that reveal. It's like, okay, he ain't the little homie. They got him setting probably about the right space. He ain't about to be like higher than that, but he's setting a pretty good space. I don't know where this pool hall is, but it seems like this is his place of business and operation. So he set up pretty nice. This is a great Richie episode to me.
Mm-hmm.
It made him a worthy. This episode made him a worthy villain. 100%.
And yeah, man, I like. Go ahead, my bad.
No, go ahead. You good.
I was gonna say I really like seeing. This might be the first time since we got the announcement of seeing Sil and Paulie together on that.
Yes,
we both the number twos. And the way they kind of approach the situation and going to Spike's point, you can tell how much respect that Richie has, because the way they dance around it, they telling them, but they not telling them. This wouldn't happen with anybody else. It would have been a very direct order. Like, what's going on. You know what time it is. and just Richie, like you said, just a comedy hour. He's talking about Beansy. He may never walk again.
Serious?
Never say never. No, say never.
Exactly.
He's a shopping cart.
Oh yeah.
He called that man a shopping cart, man. Come on, man. What are you on? Richie was
Yo.
He was so, matter of fact, like you could say never. He ain't never walking. He was proud of the fact that he handicapped.
That nigga was like, yeah, I made sure he not gonna walk no more, bro. I pulled back. I hit reverse and roll over.
I backed up and then I put it in drive.
Yeah, he wasn't gonna walk no more. Like you ain't got to worry about that.
Oh yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I thought I told you to back off Beansy. I did, and then I put it in drive. He was on some trash, man. Richie, the worst type of nigga, man.
Hey, this made him a worthy villain, though,
yes,
man. Like I think this is probably one of the most worthy villains that Tony has had since. Well, we'll see in later seasons. Like, he's right up there with Phil for me.
He is
right up there with Phil as far as a worthy villain, man.
Yeah. Only reason Phil got him is because he got New York. That was the only reason that he has the higher archy of being a worthy villain to Tony is that he got the whole New York backing. But we find out here also that Vito is Richie's nephew. So that was just another good reveal there that we get that. So Vito's related to Jackie and Richie.
And Vito's wife was related to Phil. Right?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh yes. Okay. So there we go.
Yeah.
See, genius soprano writing again. You know, them, as Rich talked about last episode, I got a cousin that's engaged to this girl that's in Hollywood, and then they bring it back. Just genius again from David Chase and the good people of the Soprano writing cast. We get a small scene with Carmela. She talks to Jeannie Cusimano about her sister having some pull and say, yo, can she write a recommendation letter for Meadow? And she's kind of hesitant, but we get the idea that Jeannie is kind of a passive person and kind of gets ran over. We'll find out a little bit more about that when we get to the later scene with her and her sister. But what Spike, what did you get from this interaction? Was there anything else other than yo, I need you to do this? Can you do this?
I wonder what it was. I mean, of course, The Sopranos and Tony is her husband, but even this scene and this scene with the sister, I wonder what it is that makes Carmela so intimidating to them.
Yeah.
Like she's taking a modest approach. I feel like she's being very direct and assertive. Yes, absolutely. I mean, but she's not overtly threatening them. However, they feel threatened. And I wanted to ask you guys, is that because y'all think of, okay, Tony, these women can't really think that Carmela's going to have them killed behind some shit like this. Mm-hmm. So what's the intimidating factor about this on their end? What y'all think?
So for me, there's two things that I get from it. The first one is they know that she is married to a gangster. You know, Tony's names and the crimes that he's a part of are in the newspapers. So they have a general idea. And any kind of mystery about a person kind of brings this little bit of, these are civilians. These are regular people. They going to be naturally shook. They don't come from that world. So just knowing that mystery, not knowing exactly what goes on, seeing the FBI, if they peek out the kitchen window, seeing the FBI in the backyard of the Sopranos house, that kind of shakes them. So you just don't want to, or not you, but they don't want to be on the bad side of that. Whatever can come with that world, I always want to stay on the good side of it. The second part is that suburban housewife life. They got a set of rules where everybody kind of surprised, polite and pleasant, and you kind of pick up and you short. It's like a high and by situation. They're not used to people pressing back on.
Yeah.
Carmela, the thing that stands out in this episode is she is not taking no for an answer. She's going to keep that conversation going to the point where you really got to be bold enough to be on some, I'm not doing it. And nobody's going to tell her that. And she knows it. So I'm going to keep pressing down. Plenty of times in life, it's easy when somebody just in your ear the whole time. All right, shit, I got you. Fuck, I'll do it. Stop talking to me. I got you.
Yeah.
It's that type of that, but it's mixed with fear.
Yeah. I agree with everything you said, and I think that this speaks volumes to everything Carmela has is because of Tony, which makes so much sense later in the series, where she has an issue with Tony, but it's everything you got, you're thinking you're doing something by approaching them, but they're not even thinking about you. They're thinking about who your husband is. The power, the demand, the respect, everything, money, influence. Everything you got is because of the sweat of my brow. Everything Carmella has is because of that. She
And
has
what's
nothing
really
outside of that other than their kids, which is why there's such an issue later with Meadow and her mom. You know, their issue later because you didn't have the makings of a varsity athlete. And so it's like this thing where Carmella, we'll get to the later scene where it's like, it's even making more sense now, but everything she has, it's almost as if like you see like the little puppy and he's barking and the dogs are coming at him, but the puppy, they won't run off, but the puppy don't realize there's this big dog behind them that's protecting them, so they're scared of the dog behind it and not actually the puppy. That's Carmella. Like they're not actually in fear of you, they're in fear of who you connected with. Everything she has is because of Tony.
Yeah, man. And what's crazy is I was just gonna say they got every right to tell Carmella no. The ball's on her for even asking that. That's a hell of an ass. She wild for that.
Yeah, she is.
That's a crazy ass. I think that's one of the things that all put them too. They like, damn, bitch, is you serious?
Yeah,
like, because you said, Rich, there is a certain etiquette amongst those circles in which, like, you like all over the line, my girl. Mm-hmm. And I feel like in her circle, she's the big dog. Like when we talk about Ro and the other chicks who are more familiar with Carmella's lifestyle, she don't gotta ask but once. Like if she wanted them to do something, it's like, well, I gotta do it because, like, you know, the hierarchy of our situations. But it's interesting seeing her outside of the bubble of Ro and the other friends that she has, like that are made men wives. Mm-hmm. These ladies take it as, oh, if she's being intimidating or she's being threatening, as we will see later in this episode. And it really ain't even that. Like, it's just like what Mo said. It's just like, basically, I'm banking off Tony's name, getting me what I need to get. And I don't think that she's oblivious to that either. I think that she knows that.
She plays herself.
She operating on the fair. Yeah. She operating on the, like, she know that. We'll see it even later in the season with the teacher. Yes. Like, she know that. Yes. Like, she know what's going on.
Oh, yes. Poor Carmella.
Poor you. Carmella right there with Skylar White. They right there together.
She right there. Ooh, what a call. What a call. Do we got any Wire references? Anybody like that? I guess we get a lot of wives on there.
Carmella in the Wire.
Nah, the worst person, and she ain't as bad. Delonda is one of the worst people ever.
Yeah, Delonda probably worse than Clay. Delonda worse.
She's worse. I can't even compare them.
I can't even compare.
Delonda in the class by herself, bro.
By herself.
Yeah. Like straight up.
I don't think that there's a person in TV history with Delonda. What's her last name?
Bryce.
Oh yeah, she was.
You got Delonda
right with Delonda Bryce.
Yeah, you got Delonda Bryce and you got Precious Mama.
Ooh.
I ain't seen. I purposely did not watch that.
Yeah,
I ain't never seen Precious either, but I've seen the clips
though. Yeah,
I've seen the clips too. Hey, it's funny. I'm just like you, Spike. I intentionally said,
me too.
Not doing it. Ain't nothing I want to see.
Nope.
Yeah,
I got the James Brown sweaty.
Yeah, I'm good. Monique smoking a cigarette with the goddamn what's like, nah, I don't want to see none of that.
You bring it back too many memories right now.
Took me 20 years to watch The Color Purple. I definitely ain't watching this shit.
And I ain't never returned.
Right. One time. That's all you got to see. Color Purple is one time.
That's it, I promise. Richie visits Beansy. He's going through the process of just trying to see if he's going to walk. The nurse is trying to help out. He wants to have a conversation privately with Beansy. Beansy ain't really feeling it, but he still trying to hold on to whatever little bit of, kind of manhood that he has left to be like, just stand in the hallway. And Richie gives him a crazy threat. He tells him, if you cry to Tony one more time, I'm going to put your arms where your legs are. Bruh, what is Richie? Man, get this man a Jason mask, bro. This guy is crazy.
That nigga real deal, boy.
He real
stop
deal.
Playing with me. Stop playing with me. You stop playing with me. Tony, stop playing with me. I ain't building shit.
Nothing. And I mean it. Like,
yeah, like I don't fuck with this dude. Like, how many ways I got to tell y'all, like, I do not fuck with this dude. Pulling up on him at the hospital was sick.
Oh,
that was psycho behavior, bro.
Oh man. What did y'all gather anything else? Oh, I did want to ask, do you think Beansy really didn't know about them telling, Richie to build the ramp because he was like, what ramp? Like, do you think he really didn't know? Because it seemed like, to me, it seemed genuine. Like, bro, I would have never asked you to build. I don't want nothing to do with you. If I never seen you again, I'd be great. But maybe he did know. What you think?
It's probably one of those situations like where Tony paying his respect, he go holler at him. Mm-hmm. And he bitching to Tony like, man, now when I get out of here, I'm going to have to build all these accessible ramps and shit, whoop the woo, this, that, and the third. Tony probably mistaken it as, oh, he asking me to do this. It's like, he think that I'm finna do it. Oh, okay, cool. I'm finna get Richie to do it since Richie is the reason I'm in this scenario anyway. I talked to Seal, I talked to Paulie, y'all go talk to Richie. Make sure that this man got a ramp and everything when he get out of the hospital. So it wasn't a direct ask. It wasn't like, hey, man, make Richie build me a ramp. Mm-hmm. But Tony was listening to him, bitch, trying to be the boss. Like, I'm going to make this situation okay. Like Dr. Melfi said, why do you feel like you got to be the person that fixes everything? That's what Tony was doing in this situation. Wanted the ramp built, and we seen how it got back to him.
Well said, man.
Yeah.
He said everything. He covered it all.
Yeah. And it seemed like he wanted to keep Beansy quiet because you remember he was like, hey, we take care of our business in-house. We take care of we do our own laundry. He's like, right, Beansy? He's like, yeah, I guess you're right. Because, so I think that's a part of it too. It's like, yo, I need to really assure, because he's a good racket. That's where they clean money at his pizza place. So it's like, we need to make sure he's quiet. We need to keep him. We can't just kill him off because we think he's going to snitch. So I think this is kind of a part of that too. Like, get this ramp built. Let's try to make the best out of this situation.
Man, Richie is like
well connected. Man. It's like they said though. It's like they said coming. They said Richie.
Oh yeah, right.
The dude, now Rich, he got friends.
Yeah,
like,
he do.
It's people that could make it. Probably not tough for Tony, but it's just an inconvenience that he wouldn't want to deal with. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like Tony is looking at it as he's bitching to me about it now. What if he starts bitching to somebody else about it? And that gives them the reason to try to come get me or off me or some bullshit like that. Because they always allude to the friends that he has. Mm-hmm. So maybe he tied in with New York or some shit like that.
Probably. I think that's a great pull. I think that is, because we'll see later. Like, he really he really shake it later, like with the casino joint. So yeah. Remember when is the lowest form of guy. Sorry. All right. We go over to Christopher. Christopher goes to Adriana's. I had to get it off. Adriana's mom's house, and they're having an interaction. This whole scene is crazy. They're having a whole interaction, and Chris is, doing this, put the radio over the head, trying to romance his girl back into his life. I got a few questions, and y'all can hopefully enlighten me. First off, what drew Adriana to go to her mom's? Because last episode we seen was D-Girl. As far as we know, she didn't know nothing about him sleeping with Amy. So what drew her to be like, I'm out?
The dinner.
It was the the dinner.
The dinner, yeah. The last time they seen each other was at dinner.
Yeah, but what about the dinner other than him just storming out?
What you mean? What?
What? Like, these people asking you about marriage, yeah, but these people asking you about marriage, you like, we ain't even engaged yet. Like, that's pretty much telling a woman that you're dating seriously, like, I ain't for real. Like, yeah, she's gonna dip, bro.
But
like 100%. Like, she's out of there.
But here's why I don't understand it. Because it seemed like she never was pushy about that. She was always pushy about, I want you to kind of get straight in the narrow.
You are married, you know how women are. What's their number one thing? Do not embarrass me.
I'm always
embarrass me.
No,
you're right here in front of Tony and Carmela, and you saying this bullshit. Oh yeah, she's going to her mom's house.
I guess she just so ditzy. I can't see it. Like, I guess that's why I'd be like, she's so green. She seemed like she deals with, like, this nigga almost blew up her house because he was high and left the stove on.
It just seemed though.
It is different, but it just seemed like you have a lot of grace for Christopher and his problems. Why are you all of a sudden like, I'm out of here? Now, if she knew Amy cheated, I think that would have made more. I mean, if he cheated with Amy, that would have made more sense.
Going back to the age-old women thing, like I said, do not embarrass me. We're right here in front of your boss, Carmela, who's probably somebody she looks up to. I think that's her cousin or some shit like that. Someone that she looks up to, and you flat out embarrassed me. Like, all they asked you was about marriage. You didn't play it off. You didn't do nothing. Like, you embarrassed her in front of them. So she's out, bro.
You also got to combine it. Yeah, you also got to combine it with the fact that we talked about last week how Adriana is a smoke show.
Yeah.
You know, she knows she's in her prime. She's in her youth. At the end of the day, she wants to get married. She's been with Chris for 3 years. Once she knows, she might not press the issue, but once she knows that he has no interest or even thought about marriage, and they 3 years in, that's when it's on some like, I'm done with you. That's the straw that breaks the camel back. She could put up with the bullshit if that, you know, if that prize is at the end. It means
marriage.
But now that I know it's not even on your mind, I think they even mentioned like, you know, when you get engaged, who gets engaged? Like Chris just scoffed at the idea, stormed out, embarrassed her.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ain't even thinking about marrying me. All right, man. I can be on my own and just
I'm done.
Adriana can scoop up whoever. So I think that's what it was. If it wasn't marriage involved in that idea of it being slammed in her face, then she probably would have stayed around for the bullshit. But that's all she wanted. That's why he knew to go out and buy a ring. He knew what time it was. He didn't come with flowers. He came with what she wanted.
Yeah, that's true. Y'all both make great points. I think and it could be because they just never gave us that. It always seemed like Adriana, she was just one of those beautiful women that didn't know. Like she had that like complex you've seen in real life where it's like you really don't know like how dope you are for real. Adriana always came off that way. So I never was under the belief that she feel like I can go out here and find something else because what she was willing to tolerate, and then we even find out who she slept with in the past. These were some bums. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of, I never looked at it like that way, but I think y'all both make a great point about, it was never on your mind? Oh yeah, I'm out. So I do understand that. And I wanted to also ask, as we get more into the scene, like, did he get the money for the ring out of the safe? Like, because I was trying to kind of tie. Is that what we were supposed to?
They alluded to it. When they cracked the second safe, he said that he spent his last score on Adriana's ring.
Okay.
And they've been doing good. Like you see their clothes as far as how Chris dressed now versus how he was dressing. Tony, when he was in Dr. Melfi office, dressed kind of is like, I think they're alluding to them doing a lot better as a crew. So he's able to buy these type of rings and shit.
Got you. This is one of the scenes that it still sticks with me. It's underrated. It's under the radar. But like, I really didn't like how they was doing her mama here, bro. I mean, it like both of them was just like with no kind of respect, like snatching the phone, kind of light shove. Like if that ain't enough foreshadowing, like
wasn't no light shove, man.
I mean, I was trying to like, cause it's like, I just felt so bad because the mom, I'm calling the police, and I imagine she probably told her mom like, yo, yeah, he put his hands on me like a few times. So she looking at you like you monster. There was a Spike Lee from the last episode. Like, so that was something I just really didn't like. I mean, it's consistent, but I just didn't like how they was doing that. That's like, mom, like, and you about to marry this dude. Like, you see how he just did that? And her mom was like, look, all right, you leave with him. Don't come back here. What did y'all think about that?
I think that speaks to your point about the gullibility and how green the Adriana is. Like, she doesn't come from a strong household or a strong family. Like, you've seen how they doing her moms. So of course she's gonna respond to Christopher like this, someone who she feels like loves her or she loves or wants to do more with. Like, there is no, like, she ain't got that father figure in the house, obviously. And like, we see how they're treating her mom. So that speaks to the point of what you're saying of why she's that green, why she's into Christopher, why she even takes him back. Like, all of that speaks to how that couple, that interaction with her mom from Chris and her. Like, she ain't got no stable upbringing to be like, I shouldn't be doing this.
That's a great point. That is a really good point, man. Hey, man, Adriana look good in this scene, man.
Oh yeah, she was. Yeah, she
nice little hot pants. Yeah.
Hey, y'all know how it is though. Like, you know how it is where y'all at odds. You ain't seen each other in the grip, because we'll get a little later alluding of like their interaction, but like, and then you ain't seen the grip and you pull up and it's like, dang, you just look better than ever. And I feel like they really nailed that. I don't know if that was an intention.
Skin glowing.
You know what I mean? Like, your skin glowing. You got the necklace on. Got the little fitted. Come on,
yeah.
Like, I know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they
with no makeup on, like your man say.
On some Drake shit. Yeah, man. They also did a good job casting her mom too. That's
it looked just like her.
everything Spike just said though. Like the apple don't fall too far off the tree.
Oh yeah,
right.
Like her mom's was just like she probably dealt with a Chris. She probably been there before. She probably dealt with a Chris.
Oh yeah,
because she know what time it is now.
Yeah, she looked like she had it back then.
Yeah, she definitely had it back in the day, man. This is probably one of the worst proposals of all time.
Oh yes. Man, yes.
This up there with the first time Martin proposed to Gina.
Oh yeah, now Martin might have got him though. Okay, I will marry you. Are you happy now? Like, bruh.
Damn. Yeah. Martin was on some trash.
Crazy. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. It's right.
Wow, for that. That's right there with it though.
Yeah, right. It is. Here you go. That's a good call. Yeah, I was going to.
Man, it's 3 carats.
Yeah, man. Mom said me weak though. I ain't gonna lie. Mom said I bet it was in the Zane's window this morning. I bet there's bits of broken glass in it.
Yeah, it was a bar.
But
I'm actually shocked that it wasn't stolen. If I'm keeping it real,
right? Yeah, which is kind of funny because
it wasn't though.
Nah, he said that he spent his money from that.
He bought it,
yeah, he said he spent his money on the ring.
You know, that's the interesting thing because we get Tony and Carmella have all that history, and we get when the indictments was happening, and he wanted the ring back, and she was like, "This isn't stolen, is it?" He's like, "Nah, of course not." But it probably was stolen. So it's funny that
it might be.
It might be.
So it might be.
Allegedly.
Actually, I'm pretty sure it is.
Versus this, Chris is trash as he is here. He actually did buy, even though he got the money to buy the ring in a bad way, but I mean, he still bought it nonetheless. So it's just funny how this woman thing where you just forgive all after a ring comes out. That is very true to life. And then she kind of shoves her mama too. I'm like, bro.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Chris shoved mama and told her to go in the other room, man.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Shit,
but
wow.
It is. We get this scene with Tony, Junior, and Richie. It seems like Tony and Uncle June, they're having a little conversation. It's a weird spot in the backyard of the Soprano house. I don't know if I've seen a lot of shots from that angle from there. It just felt very different. Almost like, is Junior like ever at this spot of the? I don't know. It just felt very out of territory nonetheless. But I like how it was shot. Richie comes in and he has such a respect for Junior, and they're talking about selling DVDs. Am I correct? Illegal DVDs, and they're saying like, "Hey, the ones we got ain't got that time, that time charting coding on there, and it ain't like the Nigerians. They got those blurry pictures." So they're talking about selling DVDs. What did y'all think about this scene right here before we get to one of the most famous scenes that is probably used? They got emoji hands for this scene, but what did y'all think about this part of the scene in the backyard of the Soprano house?
Biggest thing for me is, they got the DVD movie play. That's another racket that they're trying to get into. But it is the first time, I think, in the series where we hear, the glorified crew in Jersey have a mention of fuck New York, pretty much. So I think that's just our first time, and we know as the series goes along how that works and how that relationship goes, and there's a certain protocol that's supposed to be followed, and it's not necessarily followed all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our first idea that this thing of theirs with so many rules might have some blurry lines, just like them blurry Nigerian DVDs.
Interesting too. When we seen Junior last, he said, "I got to get out of here before your wife gets home." Carmella slammed the door in his face. She's under the impression that Tony don't fuck with Junior at all. But I love how subtle it is that this shows to how the mafia shit takes precedent over everything. Like he's saying he got to get out of there before Carmella get back, because Carmella thinking like, you don't talk to Junior. He tried to do this, that, and the third. Which Junior's in the backyard. We working deals out still because it's mafia before everything. So I thought that was real subtle and dope.
Yeah, great pull. I did want to ask both of y'all, with Richie having such an admiration, he's spoken a previous scene about having a chubby for Uncle Junior. Do y'all think he would have been a better number 2 than Mikey if he hadn't been in prison?
Who, Richie?
Richie went about
for
to be
for Junior. For Junior.
Hell no, he wouldn't have been number 2.
He wasn't about to be his
took
number
Junior's
2.
spot. Yeah, he would have took Junior's spot.
Oh, y'all think like he okay. Okay, that's a fair point. You saying he's like too alpha to be a number 2?
Like he got too much ambition, too much alpha. Yeah, like Richie not
got an issue with authority, man.
2. Yeah.
You see how it is when somebody asks him or tells him to do something. He ain't taking that. He told him, I'll build a ramp up your ass.
Right.
Yeah, let me ask one more thing on the sidebar. Would y'all be here if they did like a Richie and Jackie prequel? Or if it's just Richie?
That wouldn't be bad.
See what happened to Essex County?
Because Jackie was the boss. So if they showed how he became the boss and what Richie role was, I mean that could be one of those prequel movies like they did with Saints of Newark.
I'm kind of here for that. Yeah.
What
about you, Rich?
Jackie and shit?
I can see that. I can see it. I don't know if I want. I don't know if I want to see like a series. I don't need to see too much of it. But if I get like a hour 40 minutes of just some Richie on some bullshit, we can see the story of him beating up
guy in Essex County.
I forget his name. Yeah, Dom. In Essex County or whatever his name is. But I ain't mad at it, man. He's not a fun character. Like, you're never gonna root for him, but you can't take your eyes off of him when he's on screen.
Yeah, exactly.
He's such an important character to this show.
Exactly.
Right.
So we move on. They go to the front of the house, and this is where we get this famous moment. Richie pulls out a jacket from H&M.
I came from Wilson Leather.
Wilson, right?
Zara.
He just got that on the way. He just got that on the way to the crib. Like, he didn't get that from nobody.
Nah, he took that off a nigga for real.
He really just got that, bro. Like,
he took that off a nigga. Nah, he took that off a nigga.
Tony didn't smell Tony didn't smell no
did.
history on it. He smelled it everything. Ain't he smell no history on it?
That's what he smelled, the history on it. That's why his face looked like that. He took that off a nigga for real. That's a real deal.
You see how out of date that jacket is, man? He definitely took that off.
Bro,
that's
a real deal trophy, bro. Like, he think like that goes to show, man. We talked about the disillusion in this episode. Like, for Richie, this is a real deal, like MVP, most valuable player trophy. Like, this nigga was the boss on the block in the whole county, not on the east side or the west side, but the whole county, nigga. And I ran him up out of here and took his jacket. Like, it goes to show, like I said, to the disillusion of everyone in this episode and what this episode is based around, of how big a deal he thought that was, and how he thought that giving that to Tony would be a big deal to Tony, because it was a big deal to him. It was crazy.
Yeah,
man. Richie was out here on his beans, man. Get down and lay down. He snatched that shit off, dude.
Yeah, definitely did. This is almost 100%. The equivalent of taking a rapper's chain. You know what I mean? Like, this tough rapper. Like, you don't even know, bro. He was doing this, and now I got his chain now, and I ain't gave it to my homie. Like, that's kind of what it felt like to me. And I think that it was a big deal. Most people probably wouldn't say this, but I do feel like there are some moments of vulnerability here from Richie, because, I mean, he's working to play. Janice is in his ear. But I think he's looking like, yo, I'm trying to work my way up in the ranks. Okay, I understand. I got to respect the rules. He is boss, and it is what it is.
It's him saying, I respect you.
Yes.
Like, I respect you, bro.
Yes.
It may not look like that way from the shit that I've been doing, but I want you to know I do respect you as boss.
Yeah. Which speaks to why he felt what he felt at the end of this episode. And I do like, even though we'll get something different later, it's funny how he really thought that the ramp idea came from like Paulie and Seal, until he realized Tony was like, yeah, build the ramp, Richie. And he still was like not going until Junior knew his impact. And this was so cold to me. Like, Junior kind of was looking, and then he was just like, man, it's a shame what happened to that kid. And he's like, yeah, all right, I'm gonna build it. And that's how quickly, like, Richie has such a respect for Junior. Like, just because Junior said, man, it's a shame what happened to that kid, he knew that, oh yeah, I'm gonna get it done. Yeah, we got it. Yeah,
and it almost makes you think that the idea came from Junior. Like I could see Tony going to talk to Junior about this, like, well, this, that, and the third happened to Richie, and Junior being like, well, shit, build him around.
You think
Like
Junior
that
that good,
seems
though?
absolutely. That's I think that's a real simple solution. Like that's what Junior is good at. Junior ain't really good at the complex shit, but if you can give a simple solution to some gangster shit, Junior, he excels in that lane. And again, credit to David Chase and the Sopranos writer. It plays out wonderfully here. Like this whole scene, you know, when he talking about Bobby putting his hands on the car and fucking up the fence. Like it's a great Junior scene, but it's so subtle, like you said. Like he just chimed in with the man. Shame what happened to that kid, but that was so impactful.
I'm just weak, man, just because Tony started this whole conversation with him. What brings you to an English speaking neighborhood, man? They was on fire with the racist remarks.
Oh man, so where we assuming he stay? Like Hispanics?
Ooh.
Is that where we? I guess I was trying to figure out where he trying to say he stay at. Like, was it just all Italian? Like, you don't have no Americanized Italians, or what?
Nah, I just think he was just saying like you out the neck of the woods, man. He just like busting Richie's balls every time.
Boonies,
like when Richie came in, I thought I heard the squirrels be quiet. he just like busting Richie's balls, man. He just saying
like
you
I'm
in
the
slums,
boss,
man. You out your element.
He got it off, but Richie got it back with him. He was like, what did he say? This no good nephew of yours or something like that. Like you coming over here shopping to get produce or something like that. There was some interesting way he had put it, but yeah, I just thought it was interesting. And I think that Tony, even though we get something later, Tony, he understands the extinction. He's trying to do right here, and Tony receives the jacket. He don't keep it, but
the face, the look on his face is
yeah,
because
look on Tony's face, bro.
Like, but
that's one of the best scenes in this whole series.
Oh, yes, like this is top 10.
And
but
he got the fly ass sweater on too. He like,
yeah, he was fly, bro. Like this
like
sweater.
They purposely did their job of making him super fly. Like, man, I'm not wearing this bullshit. Man.
Yeah, like Tony got off here, and like Tony's like, it's so funny because rest in peace, James Gandolfini, but like he's so huge, so tall. He let him go through with trying to jacket. Like,
I'm about to tell you what. Slow down there, man.
What?
No, go ahead. Keep going. Keep going.
Just he let him go through with trying the jacket on, and like he's not here for it at all. It's like, come on, man. Like you're like, all right. And he's like going through like it's a perfect fit, and he looks
disgusted. He's disgusted.
And like,
I can't believe I got this shit on.
I mean, and let's be honest, the jacket's not that bad. I mean, maybe it's just me. It's not that.
It's old.
It is terrible. Mo, that shit's awful, bro. Come on, don't do that.
Come on, bro. I'm a boss. I ain't wearing this shit. Bro.
Don't do that, man.
Imagine me walking up in imagine me walking up in the pasta joint. Like what? Imagine me walking up in Ari joint with this shit on, man. And Artie joint with this shit on.
It is some shaft, like some doo. It is definitely
really. I ain't even gonna hold you. I'm so petty. I would have felt disrespected because he was giving it to me. That's how a petty I would have been so mad. I'm like, right, you think that I'm gonna wear this shit? Like that damn it would have been like a hit worthy offense to me. Like you giving me this bullshit.
You are wild, Spike. Relax.
Slick might kill you. Like, bro, you coming up to my house, you giving me this old ass jacket from the 70s, and you gonna get mad if I give it, man, bro. You disrespecting the shit out of me, my nigga.
That was respect, though. That was respect.
You disrespect. Because Tony should have told him right then, like, man, this shit terrible, bro. Get this shit out of my face.
Well, but it's it. Well, go
I
ahead,
respect Rich. I respect the what you were trying to do. I respect the gesture, but nah, bro, I'm not wearing this shit.
It's like I said earlier, man. Everybody acting out of character for real, for the better good, for the better good. Carmela even tells Tony she gives him props for kind of keeping his composure at the table when Richie and them come over on a later scene. But this is Tony. He wants to say, he is saying it with his face. His face is saying this shit is hideous.
It's all over his face.
But he sees, we've never seen Richie this excited about anything. Yeah. Richie geeked to give him this. He really thinks like, I am giving you the trophy of all trophies. This is my peace offering. This is my show of respect. So Tony gets it, but he don't care about that, and he don't care about having Richie respect. Like that's not something he's potted for. He doesn't look for that. He's not keeping him up at night. He just wants
That's
Richie
what
to
this
fall in line.
series, absolutely, and that's what this series is about too. Like we talked about this at the very beginning, Mo, when we were talking about it's the end of an era, like the end of like they're showing how the mafia dwindled down. Things like this in Richie's day probably were a big deal. Like this would have been some big shit if it was like way back in the day before Richie went to jail. However, we're in a new day and time, and Tony is a new age gangster, a new boss. Like you literally offended me. You can see it all over my face with this gesture that you made. But that just shows where they are in the same time.
Yeah, because I think
Roland. Go ahead, my fault.
I was just gonna say I think Richie spent what 10 years in the can.
20.
He did 20 in the can too.
20.
Yeah, he did 20.
Really?
I think he did 20.
Okay, so then that makes me kind of, because I was wondering, I didn't get to ask y'all, but like, how Richie get on this racket with the DVDs? That's so out of kind of his territory, really, because it's like when he went in, I don't know what they had. Like, I don't know what form. I mean, I had black and white TVs, but I can't see the racket. Like, so you getting in on the DVDs, and it's so relevant. I guess that kind of was an interesting like pickup from him, kind of getting on that. But I'm actually probably got a squad. But what was you gonna say, Rich?
I think with that's his business. Business is business. It's gonna change with the era. He gonna figure out a way to hustle it and make it work. And what was I going to say? I just going to what Spike was saying earlier about Richie just being stuck in that moment and how the mob is fading. There was an interesting, I don't know if it was a joke or not, but it was pretty telling. Richie can't get out of this whole phase as we see of him taking this jacket off of Rocky. He's still stuck in that moment, even though he says, I need to move on. That's why I'm giving you this jacket to begin with. Junior has a line that says, you know, how Rocky DeMeo died from Alzheimer's. And it's just ironic that Rocky had no choice but to forget this because of Alzheimer's, but Richie can't. And everywhere he goes, he's reminded of it. You know, everywhere he's he's reminding people of it. He's stuck in that moment that just doesn't exist anymore. And nobody around him cares about this story. Every time Richie tells this story, nobody gives a fuck. But Richie is super excited, right? Right. Richie's closing his eyes and he's imagining the fight he had with dude and snatching that jacket off of him.
Yeah.
That time has passed, bro. You out of your element. You out your way.
Nobody gives a fuck now. Right.
Yeah, man.
That's a great pull, man. What a
job.
That was a great pull right there. We get a small scene. Carmela checks the mail. She sees there's an incomplete application that Meadow has filled out for Berkeley, and without a moment of consideration, she throws it in their little trash can. She doesn't tear it up. She doesn't throw it out in the garbage to get, she throws it right there in her cabinet trash can. Is there anything y'all pull from this scene other than she is going really not here for the Berkeley app?
Scumbag move. That's some real sleazy shit to do to your child.
It's even sleazier later when she pulls this letter back out.
It's kind of gangster. I ain't gonna hold you. It's gangster because she didn't even bother. It was opened up. It was dirty. She just set it down like ain't that.
And mustard and ketchup on it and shit.
So it was a real small scene getting that. They gave us that nice detail. We're on another job. Chris and the crew, Matt and Sean, and they're breaking to another safe. So this seems to be their form of, their racket they're running right now. And it looks
where they was getting the leads from on this. Like, who the fuck was telling them that these safes was available to break in? Like,
yeah, I know, because it seemed like I had one security guard, and that was it. They was getting in there. And again, we see Christopher on the job. We see Sean having another movement again, and they're having another conversation here. Why is Chris this close to this action? Spike.
Why is he this close? Like, why is he on the jobs with him?
Yeah, like this second time almost. Like the first time it seemed like he had a goal to, get the ring or whatever, get the money and get the ring. He was on a kind of a different mission, but here he's back at it again.
I think it's just showing that Christopher's there throughout the episode. They're trying to build the relationship of Christopher and those dudes, so it makes sense at the end when whatever happens, inevitably happens. So he has to be on these jobs with them, building this type of rapport or camaraderie or whatnot, for them to think that he's responsible for the position that they're in. So that's all I think that these robbery scenes are about. Even though I hate the dude taking the shit, I hate the dude taking the shit in these scenes. Each like that burns. Like that's one of my pet peeves from this whole series, up there with the later on the dreams and shit with Tony was having. But yeah, like this is just trying to show the rapport and why they would hold Christopher responsible for them being stagnant in their mafia careers. That's all. That's why we kept getting it.
I think Chris needs to get those reps too of being a leader. That's something, you know, he talks about his recommitment.
My crew, yeah.
You know, that's his crew. He needs to teach them how to think, because they're a reflection of him. Which obviously it makes perfect sense given how things go. But they're a reflection of Chris. And this scene, for me, honestly, they had that moment, you know, Tony the man. I thought I was the man. Are we not men? That moment right there really opened up my eyes to the idea of a man and their manhood being questioned really this entire episode. And there's a very telling scene that we get later on, but their manhood is pretty much questioned. What they can do, what they can provide, are they serious? All of that. So that just kind of rung out to me. We know that David Chase doesn't do anything by accident. And those lines and those scenes that we see later on are placed there for a purpose.
Facts.
Big facts. Yeah, they were getting the hard on. Speaking of kicking up to Tony, they said kicking up to Tony will be an honor. Like, and it kind of I'm wondering, like, is Chris taking this information in where it's like, yo, yeah, it is an honor. Like, Tony really is that dude. Even though I thought I was the man, but it's like, well, look at you. Again, they laughing at you, kid. But like, it should be an honor. You know what I mean? So it's like, bro, you really in the space, but you operating at a low level with these guys. They're not, if you are that close and connected to Tony, then why are you here with us? He's over here squatting down again, using the bathroom, and and the other dudes over here, you having a conversation about your relationship. You had a dinner and you got slapped by your girl. You know what I mean? You slapped her, she slapped you back or whatever, and told her to go make you dinner. Like, she didn't respect you. They don't respect you, bro. So it's like, it's just this crazy thing of, and they shouldn't even really been at the executive game, to be honest. Like, these dudes is they just doing too much, but we'll get there.
They should have been there. They were just bodies. They were fill-ins.
Yeah.
Like, nobody else going to do that grunt work that they were doing there. Like, they were sweeping up. Like, think about the verbal ass whooping that dude took from Seal. Like, ain't nobody else willing to do that except for these two losers. You know what I'm saying? So,
man, Spike mentioned earlier about Richie giving him the jacket being hit worthy. Man, this dude taking shits needs to be hit worthy. Like, I just can't believe I can't believe they just so nonchalant about it. They just cool with him over there, like, 5 feet away, just taking the shit in front of him.
Just shitting, like, right here, and like, it ain't even a quick shit or nothing. Like you real deal, like, into it, and like, bro, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Chris lighting up cigarettes.
That would have pissed me off. I think I would have shot him right there. Left him right there with his
That's what I'm saying. That's it worthy. Like, come on, bro.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it worthy.
Yeah, boy,
you ain't got to worry about that.
Off, nigga.
Yeah, you want a hit, you got it, buddy. Now that's a hit. You don't worry. But it's a little foreshadowing line. Chris says that he gave Aid the diamond, and these are her childbearing years. So a little nugget there.
They also mentioned the mundaneness of life. Like, when Chris looked up and looked around at the office, like, could you imagine spending day after day, year after year here? He'll never understand how people can do that.
Right.
Yeah. And I think it almost kind of ties back to D-Girl, where it's like, you don't realize, like, there would have been a mundaneness as well. You doing directing or doing writing or acting, it would have been mundane as well. For you think it's exciting, but it's only exciting for a short period of time. Hence, how to write a script or a movie in 21 days. You want the short in and out action. So it's like, I think it kind of ties into that as well. We get another short scene. Carmela gets the letter back out the trash can, and she puts it amongst all of the other letters. Anything from this?
Nah. I mean, just obviously she knew that she did the wrong thing.
Yeah, just guilty conscience.
Yeah, man. Like I said, that's that duality of Carmela that like I said, she's good and she's not. Like she knows that that's a scumbag move, but then also she does the right things and takes it out. She knows that, she wants to get her daughter into college, but it's only for her reason and not Meadows. That's just Carmela in a nutshell, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess, like you said, it's that Carmela double consciousness that most characters have, but Carmela just comes out on the forefront. We go over to Vito and his cousin at Beansy's, and they knock on the door and basically say, "Hey, yo, Rick, sent us. We're here to build a ramp, and we're gonna basically build some handicap additions inside of the house." And she was like, we definitely ain't doing that. And Vito straight up says, "Bro, there's no way we're not leaving here. We're gonna even build. I'm not going back and telling my cousin that we didn't get this done." So that really kind of, to me, was a nugget to say, like, Rick, he don't play even with family, bro. So, but what did y'all gather from this little interaction here of them? Which is, and I did want to say consistency later down the road with Vito construction. But what did y'all gather from this scene right here?
Same thing you did. Richie ain't about that bullshit. I'm not leaving here. I don't care what you say. They told me to come build a ramp because Tony told him to come build a ramp, so I'm coming to build a ramp.
Okay.
Because Richie ain't 100%. About no bullshit.
100%.
I thought it was interesting too. I don't know, there's an actor that was like next to Vito, but he kind of looks similar to Skip, the police officer that's been working with Big P. I don't know if they're related or not, but they definitely had a similar look.
It's supposed to be Vito's brother in the show.
Oh, Vito's brother. Okay.
Yeah, that's what was supposed to be in the show. That's who that character is.
Okay. We go over to the young boys, Matt and Sean. They try to make an introduction to Richie. Richie never turns his back around to them. And Richie, again, with the stand-up comedy here, talks about Chris's nose. And then they said, "Man, you can't make this. I just made this up." And then he goes on. It's like, man, he's the only person that can smoke a cigarette with his hands tied behind his back. It's like his nose is like a canopy.
Smoke a cigarette in the rain.
Right. What was some what was this interaction? What were they trying to do here? Because he's a capo. I mean, I guess he's higher than Chris, obviously. What was the play here?
This was the setup for the shoot. Spoiler alert, later in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
This was the motivation that they needed to think that, oh, well, if we do this, then we'll get in with Richie. And like, this was when Richie dropped the seed. He didn't really fuck with Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't know that beforehand. So now that they got the knowledge he don't really fuck with Chris, they want to make a move on. What they get the bright idea to make a move on.
Yeah, man. They're groupies. These two are groupies. So anytime they can get around somebody with some name and some clout and some lore, they're going to go out their way to try to introduce themselves. They're not really committed. They don't like their position, in the Soprano camp right now. So just kind of keeping things open with it. I noticed something about Richie, man, and I don't know, they never come out directly say it. I know it's been alluded to.
Oh, yes.
Especially like when he got his going out party, but just him reading off his cousin's stats like that was a little bit crazy.
Line,
yes.
Like, 5'8", 225. Like, hold on.
They did that purposely, though. That's
what I'm saying. They had to.
What was up with Richie?
Yeah, they had to, because
hey, it's a scene like this in The Wire too. Do you remember the scene like this in The Wire?
What?
When he was like, my nigga came to holler at Cuddy, and he was like, yeah, we was cut buddies up in such and such up in Jessup. And my man looked at him like, what?
Yeah.
And they just left it at that. They ain't never really say too much more about it.
Yo.
Yeah, man.
Because he said when he 5'8", 220.
One of those things.
Yeah, 5'8", 225. He was 5'8", about 225. Like, he was just staring off, like, thinking about his stats. 225. Yeah, like, come on, man. That shit wild.
Yeah, that off that dome. That was crazy.
That was okay. I'm so glad you brought it, because I was sitting there like, that
was crazy.
That's a weird way to like remember somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like if somebody, that's just wild, man. Like, Spike, Spike, he about like what?
About
Right, it's like you
like,
say like, oh, he had
what?
you didn't say like the short
First thing
haircut, tattoos. You said like you're talking
I
about
know
his
build.
frame, dude.
I know the nigga build.
Yeah, that's hilarious, bro. Richie is something else, man. But we get one of those funny lines. Matt says like, yeah, Christopher, he's cool. He's my homie. What? He lives close. He lives nearby. And he's like, man, if you want to talk like that, like the Moulignans, you can go
talk like a fucking Moulian. Go
yeah,
uptown.
you can go to the slip and fall school. What is that?
Fall school, man.
What is slip and fall school?
Low level crime. Like we lazy, man.
Like
we don't want to work for shit. Yeah, we want to scam.
Like
Zelle on Friday.
Yeah.
Wow. We ain't about to put no real work in. However, we can just the system.
Us. Yeah.
Which is ironic because that's
like
all they do.
You're talking like people who we consider are beneath us. So you want to go do the beneath us shit, then going over there to the slip and fall school.
Do you think that kind of pushes the agenda even more? Like we got to do something big here?
I think what really pushes the agenda is the end of the conversation with Chris. When Richie says like, if there's ever anything you can do for me, let me know. I think they took that as a green light.
Facts.
Yeah, that was. I even think too, Richie just having his back turned like you like y'all not even on my level. I think that's probably an old school approach. You know what I'm saying? Like that's probably like back in the day, like, oh, he's the boss. Keep your back turned. Like you don't let nobody. It seems like some old school villain. It's
Carlito's way, man. It's Carlito and Benny Blanco. Who the fuck are you? I'm supposed to remember you. Right. That's how they look at that younger generation. Like you a Nickelback.
Who is you?
Yeah.
I've been with made people, connected people. You know what I mean? Who are you?
Legit, nigga. Who is you?
Yeah. Hey, I'm Richie Aprile. Like y'all groupies. Y'all want an autograph.
I ain't even got to turn around and talk to you.
Yeah.
Talk to my back. Talk to my back,
nigga. Yeah. And I wish you try. We go to the next scene. Jeannie Cusimano visits her sister Joan, and she basically lays it all out. Look, my neighbor Carmela is looking for you to write her daughter a letter to get her into college, and her sister gives her grief and says like, yo, look, like just tell her no, like it ain't happening. That's the gangster's daughter. What do I look like doing that? And she was like, somebody just did it the other day for another kid to get on campus. Why can't you do it? And she's coming up with excuses. And in the scene Joan is supposed to come off like kind of almost like the opposite of her sister, like twin sister. Like she's this more stronger one, but you realize she's just the same. Like I think that they try to give us that idea. And the interesting thing is when I first watched this, I had no idea this was the same actress. Like the way they edited on the later on this scene was crazy. What did you think about this scene though, Spike?
I think it's interesting that they try to show her sister, the lawyer, as a strong, confident, stand up for myself type. That was before Carmela got in the room though. Like it was really easy for her to say, oh, well, you should have stood up for yourself, or you should have said this, that, and the third, or no, I'm not going to do it. Like all of that shit was cool until Carmela came in the room. Now with Carmela in the room, like it was a whole nother ball game as far as her saying no. And I just think that speaks gravity to the presence, again, that the Soprano name carries, what Tony does for her as far as people looking at her and looking behind her and seeing the big dog, like y'all was saying, and her being the puppy, and her not even really realizing it, but that's what's happening. And again, when I say not really realizing it, that's one of the best parts of Carmela's roles. Like, I really never can tell if she's being manipulative and thinking that, oh, I'm going to pull this off on my own, or I know that people fuck with Tony and what they think that he'll do to them and what'll happen if you tell me no. She does a really good role of like playing the fence on if she's playing towards the Tony thing or if she's playing just towards the naive housewife thing and I want to do this for my children.
Everybody a gangster till the gangster walks in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And Joan was really like that. Joan really was surprised. Like she couldn't understand why Jeannie was so shook. Like tell her no, deal with it. Like Go on about your business. I'm writing this letter for this Dominican kid from the projects. Man, come on. Hey, this episode was wild,
bro. That is wild. Like, they capped off on everybody, bro, from the very beginning of the progressive.
And then later, when Jeannie even added more on, talking about some, with a crackhead mother.
With crackhead mother, bro.
I'm like, come on, man.
Bro, they wild, bro.
David Chase was in this.
Oh, he was in this. He had some stuff to say. He been thinking this for a while.
Jesus Christ.
No, man. It's just funny. Soprano, we get to the Soprano household. They're having a dinner, but it's not the usual suspects. In season 1, we seen, more of Junior, Livia. But this season, since the whole family as a unit is not necessarily rocking with Livia and Junior, we get a different combination. We get Richie, we get Janice, and then we get Carmela's parents. What stood out to you in this scene, Spike Lou?
About the dinner, nothing really stood out. Just like you said, new faces at the Sunday dinner scene.
Mm-hmm.
They had her pulling the letter out of the trash, Meadow asking what happened, and then the phone call goes through. But nothing really stood out differently as far as who was there. I could see Janice manipulating Carmela again, because we talked about those social circles and, hey, I'm going to come over for Sunday dinner, because she feel like that's a big play for her and Richie to be there in the boss ear every Sunday or whenever it may be. So yeah, I get it. I get why the cast of characters that are there are there.
I get Richie. Richie's obsessed with this jacket. How's the jacket, Tony? I gave Tony this beautiful jacket. Yeah, you still liking the jacket? Like, come on, Richie, man, let this shit go.
Tony says you can have it back if you want.
All right, really?
Yeah, straight up.
You'll be doing me a favor. I noticed there's this funny thing where Carmela's like, oh, Janice, don't get up, just sit. But Janice never was standing. And then Tony doubles down. Yeah, Janice, sit. And Janice don't really respond. And so Janice is quietly in her bag. She looks even more dolled up here. Richie is sitting on the other end of the head of the table. So I feel like there's some kind of, they're leaning into like, we're not necessarily equals, but in my household, manhood, how things work, this is what I'm on. Janice is drinking a fine wine and she ain't moving and she ain't bothered at all because she been in this man's ear. So I thought it was a real interesting thing how she ain't, don't worry, don't get up. She never got up. Like, I thought that was a interesting thing. We also
Tony said something really important though.
Yeah.
When Carmela brought him into the kitchen and asked him about complimenting him, on his behavior. He says, I want to compliment you on behavior. He's like, yeah, I want him where I could see him. That's like to what you were saying, Maurice, like the Sunday dinner cast. This isn't by mistake. Tony got him here for a reason. I feel this type of way about him. I want to make sure I got eyes on him on a weekly basis, see what's going on, start garnering that respect for me that I don't think that he has. So it goes a lot to it.
Yeah, that may have been why he moved him up to Capo. You know what I mean? That might be like, I need
to see you.
Yeah,
I need to have eyes on you on a weekly basis, bro.
Exactly.
I know you got wild shit going on. Yeah, I need to see you.
Yeah, that makes a lot more because he is a wild card. Like, what are you doing at the executive game, ready to stab somebody's eye out? You know what I mean? And but like you said, yeah, we get the scene within the scene where Meadow sees the dirt on the envelope. Like this is what I was talking about. So this is what I was alluding to at the very beginning. You couldn't have took the effort to actually go to a library and reprint out an envelope or write it down with a physical pen and then make a copy so it looks like it was already there. She didn't make no effort. This is my problem with Carmela. This is my problem.
Why would I do that though? Like, you my child. Like
what? But what
even if you push the envelope, like, who gives a fuck? Like, what are you gonna say or do to me? Like, Carmela, knows when she can put her dick on the table, like for lack of a better word, like she knows it.
Yeah.
Like Meadow know exactly probably what happened to that letter, but what are you gonna say? What are you gonna do? Who are you? You are like just like you said that everything that's possible for her is because of Tony. She feels that way about her kids. Like Meadow, you wouldn't even be in this position if it wasn't for me and Tony and what we've done or whatnot.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you gonna say to me?
Yeah, like what you?
I did it, and
okay, so
I
now
hope you still don't get the shit over to Berkeley. Like you did good that I even took it out of the trash. I could have left that shit in there.
Straight up.
This almost recontextualizes now how I felt about Meadow going off. I mean, she still was out of pocket because it's your parent nonetheless. But now I kind of, because at first I was like, Meadow out of pocket. And she still is, but I don't fully feel that way because it's like, bro, this is my whole future and you threw my stuff in the trash. Like I may have never known about it. Then you want to leave it there and make me like kind of be like, just be happy I left it there. No wonder why no wonder why she can't stand Carmela. It's just like,
what you wonder why she want to leave.
Facts. Like, cause to me,
like
I'm
she
just
wants
like,
to leave us.
That's crazy to me. Like you didn't like make no that I'll get into a little further. There's another scene that happens, but like, you know, yeah, I let it marinate for now. Anything else you get from this scene, Rich?
Nah, that's pretty much it.
Pretty much it. Okay. Carmela visits Joan Cusimano, as far as we know, as a Cusimano, and she's laying it on thick, like, hey, yo, look, your sister called and she said you weren't gonna write the letter, but like, I kind of need you to do that though. And she's like, well, like I said, I already basically sponsored and wrote for another student. Their parents are crackhead, and that's about the size of it. She was like, oh, well, you could just write a letter and say, this person's that's not their priority for real. And then you can write a letter for her. I'm just gonna leave this here. I'm not telling you how to write it. I first had a question for y'all, but I guess I probably know it now. But my question was like, what in the threat actually worked? Because it really wasn't a threat. But I guess we kind of know.
That's what we said earlier. Just see, it's just about what side do you want to be on. Is this battle of pride worth being on the wrong end of the Soprano family? Mm-hmm. As petty and as small as it is, will they do something? Probably not. But just me having to walk around with the idea that they possibly could have some vendetta against me and my sister who lives next door to them, like it's just not, the juice ain't worth the squeeze. It's easier for me to just write this letter to even deal with that shit. And it's not, and we see Joan stand up to it. Yeah. Tell her, I'm not doing it, I can't do it. It's that backing down. Most people fold. Oh, okay, then, man. Well, I appreciate you considering. Carmelo's pretty much saying you writing this letter. She says, is it a threat? And she don't want to know the answer to that. You
understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying. And I love how Joan even like tries to be funny when she says, oh, yeah, Jeannie says you want me to write a letter for Fielder? Oh, Meadow. Like she like emphasizing her point. Like, I don't even know this girl. Right. I can't even say her name right because I don't know her. And yet you asked me to do this crazy ass ask. But Carmelo ain't going. She is not taking no. Like, I don't think you understand. I want you to write that letter. Excuse me? I want you to write that letter. She doubled down. Wasn't no joke.
And I ain't Carmelo was right. I ain't taking no.
Yeah, you writing this letter. Like, that's just what it is.
Finally, she takes initiative. So here we go. It took all of this before she finally took initiative. Tony, what are we gonna do? Jeannie, why don't you talk to your sister? It took all of this for her to finally take initiative. That's the issue with the character. That's the issue with her. She doesn't take initiative, but she feels entitled all the time, and that's what.
I feel like she took the proper route. Like, that's, you don't go straight to, if I know somebody that knows somebody, hey man, see if you can get the meet set up, or see if she can find out, because she thought it was gonna be a simple ask. I'm asking you as a favor. But why? That's your twin sister. I'm sure you can get it done.
But like,
oh, you can't get it.
But like, her and Jeannie are not cool like that at all. You could tell that they're not cool like that. So it's like, I'm asking you that I'm not really cool with, to ask your sister that I don't know at all. Like, you're so oblivious to, instead of saying, hell, can you give your sister a call and I'll go myself and ask, can she write a letter? But it's that's to me the gap of Carmella taking initiative in all of these episodes.
Yeah, but it's like a job reference. You know what I mean? Yeah. You refer somebody to a job. Joan would take it more serious if Jeannie was really on something like, yo, this girl that I live next door to, she'd be perfect for Georgetown. She's a grade A student, model citizen. She'd be a great fit. Like if she gets that, verification, that's all right. Then I'm more likely to at least even take a meeting or consider doing it. I might still say no, but it just holds more weight versus Carmella just coming in anyway on some. All right, man, I need you to write this letter for me. That's even more crazy. Like at least she had the idea of, I know you looking for this letter, but it ain't about to happen.
Okay. Anything else you add to that, Spike?
No, I agree. Like everything that Rich was saying, as far as I know you're looking for it, but it ain't about to happen, and her acting like she was going to hold her stance to it, but then thinking about it more and like, well, do I really want to be on the wrong end of this transaction? Like it's a simple ask. It's all I got to do. Am I willing to risk everything that comes with telling the Soprano family no?
It's like, I look at it like street parking, right? You go downtown, pay your $3 for 4 hours or 2 hours, right? Nobody want to put their card in and pay that dumbass street parking, but is it worth getting a $50 ticket?
Am I willing to get in a boot or a ticket? Am I willing?
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, let me just go ahead and pay this now because it's not worth me getting a boot later on. Yeah, like, I don't want to do it, but it's just the lesser of two evils.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
That's a
good analogy.
Great analogy. We get Matt and Sean there at the Bada Bing. They recognize Tony. Yeah, and they see him in the bathroom, and they're immediately trying to make a play, and it goes off the rails.
My nigga sprayed Tonka in his mouth before going in the bathroom to talk to another man. Bro, this was so like these niggas is losers.
Yeah.
Jesus. They did a really good job of just setting these niggas up and painting them as losers.
Yeah, they definitely did.
God,
morons.
Morons. Beavis and fucking Butthead.
Yeah, Matt thought he was getting it off. It's like, man, that Bada Bing chick, like I really would like to I like to
break my dick off of that ass.
It's like
from the other instance of it, it goes to speak to what Tony deals with. Like, I don't know if y'all niggas is working for the feds. I don't know if y'all just groupies and like just are weird as fuck. I have no fucking idea. But because y'all weird ass niggas have approached me in the bathroom, now I gotta take all the precautions necessary. It's crazy.
Right, man. He said, I like to break my dick off in that ass of hers, man. That shit wild.
Man, he was like, serious. It's like, bro, and we're using the bathroom with the joint already out. This is really weird right now, bro.
Like, bro, I'm right here pissing, man. Like, I got my dick in my hand.
You know what I mean?
Why you talking to me with my dick in my hand?
Bro, that's what I'm saying.
What we doing? Give me the simple nod. Look at the fucking wall in front of you and let's keep it moving, bro.
They want autographs, man. They groupies, bro. That's what pisses me off about them. If they was really about their business and trying to make them ranks, they both go about it a whole different way.
A lot of totally different.
And they were still acting like Tony didn't recognize him, but he's like, I know who you are.
I know
like,
who y'all are, bro. What do y'all want from me?
Yeah, like I remember when the riot went down. I seen y'all and I told y'all I wasn't supposed to be here. Remember when we had the executive game? I had y'all both doing that. Remember when? You know what I'm saying? Like I've seen y'all a few times. I know what's up, but y'all not there yet. You know what I mean? And just
I shouldn't even. There's no reason for me to be talking to y'all
at all. Like
there's no reason for us to have conversations, bro. You ain't got shit to be talking to the boss of this family.
Exactly, and they just out of power. It speaks to that generation, that impatience. This is what it almost makes us believe that this is what the next generation of the mob looks like. Like it. We're that impatient. We're going to meet you in the bathroom. We're going to try to talk, sell ourselves. We're going to go behind who we're working with. And they don't get the concept of what Chris said. Why be in the crew? Why be a gangster? They ain't get that memo. You know what I'm saying? So they're just flat out in it for themselves. And they have no idea the proper channels to go through. And, we see it backfires. Richie meets with Seal and Paulie. And Richie has zero respect for them two. Like them two are sitting down and he's standing up and he ain't got no respect for them two. And and Tony pulls up and Tony is like, he's telling that same story again. And Tony is just like, bruh, whatever, dude. Like, what did you get from this scene though? I know it's kind of a small scene, but was there anything else y'all got here other than them two? We see the matchup here, Seal and Paulie. I don't even remember why Paulie stopped being like a number two, but probably was a prison thing. But
no, just the jacket. He just brings up the jacket again. Like he's so fascinated with the jacket. Like I said, nobody cares but Richie.
Mm-hmm.
You're not wearing the jacket. He said it's in the car. You want it back?
You want it back? And y'all won't shut up about this fucking ramp.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he had zero respect. Like, man, they keep talking about this ramp, bro. Do it. Like we ain't playing around at all.
And I think that was Richie's like way of trying to, silent protest. Because all right, if I pull them away to do something at our crib, knowing if that's Tony's mom's, like what you gonna say? Yeah, this is my way of saying
I can't override that. Yeah.
This is my fuck you to Beansy and his ramp.
And you can tell too how Paulie and Scylla looking at him. Like his bitch ass nigga, boy, that was a good move.
Yeah, it was.
Like it's a boss mama house. Like what the fuck am I supposed to say? Yeah. And they both looking at him like motherfucker. And again, that goes to what we've been saying about Richie this whole episode. He's one of the few people who were an adversary to Tony who was respectable.
Yeah. We get a small scene. Jeannie Cusimano visits Carmela, and she drops off the letter in the dish that she cooked the little fruit pie.
No. She ain't dropped the letter off because Carmela definitely asked her that she have a copy.
Well, I didn't get it.
She asked if she had a copy of the letter that she brought.
Yeah, this is how aggressive Carmela was with it. Like you said, like she brought the dish back and she was like, yeah, she did the letter for you, thinking that everything was going to be good. And Carmela just doubled down as she's been doing the whole episode. Oh, do you have a copy of the letter? She's like, well, no.
Well, I think that letter in the dish, I think that letter in the dishes are Meadows transcripts that she left with her. You know what I mean? Because she didn't. At first, I thought that was the actual letter itself. But then she asked, like Spike said, she asked for a copy. And she said, I don't have it. I'll get one to you. So I'm like, my question was really going to be, do y'all think she actually wrote the letter? Or if that was just on some tell her we wrote it, she ain't got no way to confirm it type shit.
Right. And that's what I thought that Carmela was like, okay, nah, bitch, I want to see
it. Carmela ain't playing no games, man. You're not getting off.
Yeah, you're right. I thought she looked good in the scene too. I thought it was a pretty good shot for the scene. That little turnaround, I was like, okay, that's a good look for Carm right there. Great pull. I did not catch that at all, brothers. Like that was not I was very confused. So y'all definitely cleared that up. But I definitely think she wrote the letter. Like it wasn't like you said, juice ain't worth the squeeze, and we don't want to do this long term, even though you're an attorney and all that. But Tony probably got a top of the line attorney too. Jewish guy, and he knows his stuff. So it's like you don't really want to go there. You know what I'm saying? Tony can take it corporate if you need to. But the funny is just like the awkward hug. I did want to ask you, Carmela, like, does she like drink from the well of thinking that like she's looked at as like the suburban mom like the rest of them, or she? Because I'm wondering, like, does she? What is her mind?
Carmela don't see no reason why she ain't just like Jeannie and Casamano. Like to her, that we in the same boat, we're the same type of people.
Okay,
and that goes to again what y'all said at the beginning of this episode, talking about the disillusion. This episode is based and rooted in disillusion. You brought up a good question, Mo, asking that like Carmela thinks that she like, what's the difference between me and her? Or as she was talking about at the beginning of the episode with Hunter and saying, her uncle or whatever it is went to the college that she got approved to. Like she's thinking that we have the pedigree. Like, why aren't Meadow being considered for all of this shit too? So she think, I'm in the same circle as them.
Yeah, man. My issue with Carmela as a character throughout the entire series, in a series that's so based off of honesty. I mean, obviously it's based around a therapist and a patient. Everything about this show is about unpacking honesty. Carmela she refuses to be honest with herself. You know what I'm saying? And keep it real with herself. And that's what pisses me off the most about Carmela. She walks in this world like she's so much, holier than thou.
Like butter would melt in her mouth.
Yeah, but she just as, she just as guilty or got just as much dirt on her as everybody else.
She just as much as a gangster as Tony is.
I wouldn't say that. But
Absolutely.
I would say the Soprano family. I wouldn't give Carmela that, because she doesn't have the making. She doesn't have the drive to do it. That's why I never would say she's just as much dirty, not as much as a gangster. I wouldn't give her that, because she don't have the drive. That's why Meadow has such a problem with her, which why I would kind of tie into where now I'm starting to think this is a part of where AJ gets his traits. We look at Carmela like, oh, she's doing this and that. No, she picked one lane to be good at, but she can't really do anything else. And that's where I feel AJ gets there. But we'll get to that point.
Yeah. I think she has a drive. I just think it's all selfish. It's all for whatever she wants to do for herself. You know, she got the drive. She know where to find. She know to look in the birdseed to get something that she wants to do. Like, that takes drive and some initiative. Like, I get what you're saying, but it's more wrapped around. It's not for anybody else but Carmela. If it's not for Carmela's game, then it don't really matter.
I agree with that with Rich. I think that she doesn't have the responsibility that Tony has of how is this going to affect the people around me. When she has something, an initiative, like you said more earlier, or something that she wants to do, it's all about how is this going to look on me, Carmela Soprano. Not Tony, not Meadow, not AJ. It's all about her. She's really one of the only characters in this series that has that luxury. Like, I'm only doing this shit for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear what y'all saying. I just think that she's just trying to convince herself otherwise. Like, it's a mindset. I think she's just trying to convince herself that she ain't what she is, like most characters.
Exactly.
I don't think she's driven. I think she's trying to convince herself if this works, this shows, oh, I'm more than, but you're really not, because you never had the makings. But we'll get there when we get to that point. Furio, he comes to collect from the young boys, and they come and they give him $7,500. So they collected a nice little chunk of change and they had something put away. Then Furio just said, give me $1,000. Like, no extra, no reason, no nothing. But they did intro him by saying that, like, that's Furio. Like, they knew he was crazy, so he had a rep already with them. And so, you know, they were scared of him and everything. And then, you know, Furio's looking at their draws, look at them naked and in their TV, and he just flat out dissing them. Rich, what did you think about this scene and these two? Like, was they air? What did you think about this scene, bro? There's so many questionable things.
I don't know. Listen, man.
Look at it. He trying to figure out what to say.
I don't know what they was on, bro. I'm just gonna say that. Yeah. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna keep it real simple. I don't know what they was on, bro. They was
up in the club. My life. I've never in my life been chilling with my homie in my boxers watching videos, bro. Like my nigga, put some fucking clothes on, like at least some sweats or something like that, bro. We're not sitting there in our boxers watching videos, bro.
That's crazy, bro.
That was wild.
I'm like when Tony asked Richie in the earlier episode to put your pants on some of that, man. And y'all, because
what are we doing here, bro?
It's not on some wake up. Just like the middle of the day, they lounging. Like, y'all just lounging and
just
chilling, smoking.
These niggas is chilling.
If that's how y'all get down, but it goes to what I said, man. That manhood is just in question all throughout, and it's that generation thing, like this new generation mob. Even physically, their build is different than what we see from the old school.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. The gangsters right there, they're more in line with Chris. So I think it's that kind of similarity. And obviously Furio, him banging in, he sees that right away. Like, y'all not a part of this world for real. Like, give me $1,000. Let me just see if I can do this just to get it off.
Y'all niggas sitting there here in y'all boxers with each other watching music videos with y'all draws hanging up on like nah, come on, give me $1,000, bro. Like, come on with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, gang, just because I can.
He could have got it.
Just because I'm taking
he could, because he's made. They couldn't have touched him. He could have did whatever he wanted to do. Really, you're right. Like,
even beyond that though, like, just because y'all in here bullshit.
Yeah,
just because you don't want nobody coming over here telling me like, man, I went to get the drop from these niggas. They sitting here and they draws watching videos. Like what,
that's
bro? Come on with
$1,000, bro. I taxed them just off GP.
It's just tax, my nigga. Come on.
It's for a collection, a collective fee. Okay, because I was just like, bro, is they trying to tell us they're so broke their air doesn't work, so that's why they in the garments they're in, or I just didn't.
They're just young. Look how they living. They live filthy. They're disgusting. It's not filthy. Like they in a bad place and they just the the aesthetics aren't cool. Like they just don't. They live like 19, 20-year-olds. Like they got beer bottles over there. They're taking bong rips,
bongs and shit.
No draws hanging.
They're watching
up on
rap,
ladder,
watching DJ Quick on a rap video up in the clubs.
Right.
That's what I think.
Man.
Yeah, insane.
Yeah, I see.
On some trash, man, and not even the wherewithal to not that. It's somebody knocking at your door in general. Even if you by yourself, I'm in my drawers. I'm having some decency. Put some shorts on. Put something on. They just don't have the presence of mind to do anything.
Yeah, they just
Yeah, Furio knew like, all right, you gonna give it to me, or I'm gonna take it, one of the two. But I'm taking 1,000. Like,
I'll take the whole. Yeah, like if you don't give me the 1,000, I'm gonna take a whole stack that you had.
For real though.
And part of that go to do with like one of the rules in the game, like you never pull out your money. Like you ain't supposed to pull out everything that you get.
Yeah, you never do that.
I'm gonna give you what you looking for, and like I ain't finna pull out my whole bank wide for you to be able to be like, well, shit, I need it. Like, nah, bro.
Boy,
they're so naive. They should have known that money. That money should have already been put to the side in its own envelope.
Like I got this waiting for you in the envelope. You ain't gonna see how much I got or where I'm getting it from or none of that.
We did get a scene earlier, the scene before where they was trying to make a pass at Tony to get in on the business. They did. Matt did say that like he went to like stockbroker college or something like that. So these guys had a different life before, and they just decided.
That's after this.
Oh, that's after. Okay, I thought I missed.
That was the next scene.
Yeah, at the bottom. That next scene at the bottom bing. That's when they had that combo.
Gotcha. We go over to Chris and Adriana. They slap cheeks and they say, "Yo, this was fire." You know what I mean? They got it in. It was crazy. And Chris just tells her like, "Yo, Uncle Tony, man, he got my mind right. Like he's right. I needed to focus. I need to do this." And they just in awe of each other. They're having a beautiful, intimate moment, and it's great right now. And here we are. What did y'all think about this scene? And it's funny the transition from them two, kind of being out with the draws and kind of, what they're alluding to them actually, him actually being intimate with his woman. It's just a funny transition there. And he's like, them both are like not really having that many clothes on. What you get from this scene, Spike?
This was the scene that they needed to show why the last scene would make sense and what they did to Chris. Okay. Them going to we at our limit, we at our crossroads, we don't know what we want to do, we need to make a big splash. This was the scene that made that come into fruition. So I got it from that sense.
Yeah, man. It one thing about doing this podcast is we're all fans of the show. We know the show, we know what's gonna happen, the ins and outs, the intricacies. So it's hard to re-look and remember what it was like the first time watching it sometimes. And I really remember thinking like this is going to be a big turnaround for Chris. Like this is the Chris we've been waiting for. He seems like he's locked in. He's taking Tony's word. He's got everything focused with Adriana. We about to see that next step come. So that's what I remember initially getting from that scene. Just the upward mobility that Chris had and all the potential.
It showed the differences from what Chris was from what two losers like those two guys were.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. Richie visits the Soprano household, but it's just Carmela there. And we see Carmela is trying to draw a picture of, I don't know, maybe AJ. And this is where I just about blew my lid. It's like, like you're just sitting here drawing. Like you got time to sit here and draw.
Like, what you want Carmela to be doing all day, man?
I was going to say, like, bro,
it's because it's later scene
not
of like
get mad at her.
Because it's this later scene of like, it's a later scene. I'm not spoiling anything because I'm not gonna give you details for those that never watched and going through the series with us. But like, there's this later scene of like, okay, well, next time you get your win, then I'm gonna ask for my cut. You already got your cut from the bird feeder, and don't deny it again. Like it's that funny thing of like when you look at it in slow motion like we're doing, it recontextualizes everything about what she feels she's entitled to. You're sitting here drawing, but then like it just like when I get home and I'm Tony Soprano, don't ask me to do anything. Don't ask me to go to the garage to get ice. Don't ask me to get sausage links from Factory House. Don't ask me to do anything. Like
you're a husband. Like you.
Nah, I'm a boss. Like I'm
that's the beauty of this show, though.
It is
the
beauty.
Beautiful part about this show is like, nah, nigga, even though you're the boss of a major mafia family, you're not excluded from, hey, you got to run errands today. Like, you got to go take your daughter on college tuition or college trips or whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. So it's funny that you say that she's sitting there, she's just drawing a picture of AJ, but I don't get mad at that because, like, what are we paying the housekeeper for? I shouldn't have to get up and answer the door. What the fuck are you doing?
Okay,
here?
so then why do you need anything from me? That's again.
So Mo, here's the thing, Mo. If Tony came home and Carmelo said, "Hey Tony, I want to get a job," what you think he gonna say? You fucking crazy. Your job is to take care of our family, look after the house.
Yeah, in this era, yes.
Yeah, that's Carmelo's role.
So what do you expect her to be doing?
Yeah, that's
she run the household.
All I'm expecting is like, don't give me a hard time. Like, that's all. That's it. Don't give me a hard time. Like that's it. When I get home,
that's one of the biggest, I think, irks for women in that scenario. Just because you do all of this and do this, that, and the third. And again, I'm not a woman, so I don't know, but I think they feel like it doesn't exclude you from having to do the everyday things that you're supposed to do as a man. Like, just because you provide all of this or you are this person, like you're saying, in the outside world, Mo, that don't mean that you can come home and just like sit on your ass and not do nothing. You still have a family. You still have children. You still have a wife. You still have commitments that you made obligations to. So, like, I get what you're saying, and it's funny for us to joke as men and say, well, bitch, I shouldn't have to do nothing. I bring all this money in. I'm a millionaire. I'm in the NBA. Yeah. Like, why would I be exclusive to you? But that's what women expect.
Let me ask you this.
And unless you deal with those expectations up front, like, you can't act like in the middle of it just because you are this sole provider that the expectations change, because they don't for women. Women don't look at it that way.
That's true. But let me ask you, why do our son have those grades then? You sitting here drawing our son when you should be drawing up a plan on, okay, what am I going to do? We're sitting here trying to figure out our parenting thing. But if you have this type of time, that's where I come home like, okay, Tony, I've thought about it. And here's what I think we should do with AJ. Tony, I thought about it. Here's what we should do with Meadow. You're sitting here and you're confused and not knowing what to do, but you're at the house and I'm confused, not knowing what to do. And I might have to murder somebody today. If you ain't got nothing else to do, you need to figure out why our son got these grades and how we going to get them up. Now, obviously, we'll see later down the series, she finally figures out what she thinks she needs, uses her weapon to try to make some things happen. But at this moment, that's all I'm saying. You're absolutely right. It does make the show great, and I'm not mad that it's genius. All this is great. I'm just speaking from like a real life. If I'm a mob boss and I might have to kill somebody today, like they literally murder.
That's how we think as men, though. Yeah. And you're right. Like, I ain't disagreeing with you at all, but women think totally different. Like, they don't take none of that shit into consideration. Like, none of that matters to them. Like, oh, I signed up for you to be this type of dude, and you're not this type of dude. Like, why? Mm-hmm. Not, again, taking anything into consideration of what you're saying. But yeah, I agree with I understand, what you're saying, Mo, but I do see the Carmelo side of it too.
Mm-hmm. That was a good point, Mo. I get what you're saying on that last part.
But Richie, sorry, we put a lot of focus on it. But Richie comes and he has his tripe tomato. I don't know what he had hooked up here, but it's very interesting. We talk about 5'8", 225. Here's another 5'8", 225 moment. He has this really cheesy moment, and he prepared this. Not, now we, me and Spike have already talked that, like, we're men and we cook. Rich, I don't know if you do or don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
You cook as well. Okay, so we understand that, but like in this era, at this time, it's have dinner ready for me, right? Because that's where we were as society. So it's very funny. He's coming in there, kind of having a moment here. He brings a dish, and he got that like Betty Crocker cheese going on, and he's sitting there and he's enjoying life, and he's all good until the maid's husband comes in with the jacket, and immediately. Immediately. You want to talk about an origin story for the Joker? Here we are. Like, what about this part? Like, what do you think Richie was feeling right there at that moment?
You got me fucked up. You have me fucked up because I've made clear. I've told you what this jacket meant to me, what I went through to get it. I'm giving to you as a sign of respect. And your fucking housekeeper got it on. Nah, bro, you got me fucked up.
Mhm.
I can't even sit in your house no more. Yeah.
Disrespect, man. That's a
Yeah.
great
That's a
point.
fly ass
Hey,
purple little bomber, little silk purple bomber he got on too. That's fly.
He got it off.
Like
Yeah.
Richie was like, he got that
He
shit
got
on.
his own little. Yeah.
like Tony, you ain't even got enough in you to say fuck this jacket. I'm just gonna hang it up.
Right. You
Like
won't even tell me.
you gave it to the housekeeper's husband, bruh.
Mm-hmm. Husband, like you, not
like,
even
didn't even think about it.
Oh yeah.
And my nigga came in swag on 1,000 with it on.
Oh man, swagging it out like Tony never wore it. Boy,
that's what make it funny. Dude was actually wearing it.
Yeah, modeling it.
It made it worse because Carmella was like, he drive taxis. He was such this, that, and the third in her country.
and it's
Richie looked like he was about.
Did she get a divorce from this dude though? Do y'all remember when she was having? Well, this is later on, of course. But when she was having the picnic, like this is the same chick.
Yeah, it's the same chick.
It's the same chick.
The
right?
husband,
this ain't the same. It changed.
The husband
right?
played by a different actor later on.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I think.
That's probably part of the confusion.
Dude. Yeah,
that's probably part of the confusion.
Like,
yeah, they replaced the actor.
Okay.
But yeah, Richie looked like he was about to grab the tool and just spray everything.
Oh
like,
yeah,
Richie
like
was pissed
because she
almost smacked Carmella.
I mean, really, because Carmella is so oblivious. This is a really great Carm got in her. This outfit, this really is working for her, though. I will shoot that back in their way. Like this whole look is working for. I guess it's that even though, well, y'all know how it is. It's like there's something about like a woman with power. It just works. It's a certain glow. It's the teacher thing. It's the woman boss thing. It's really working for her here, even though like I still have the same sentiment, but it's working for her look here. But Carmella was getting off like, oh yeah, we're just giving them the television from downstairs. Like it probably was a really good television. They just upgraded. So I think so that was already kind of a low for him. I felt like that's where it started. And then when he walked through with the jacket, it was like a double, like they doubled on it. And that really like sank in like, oh yeah.
That's like we give these people our hand-me-downs.
That's a hand-me-down.
Old
right?
TV. The jacket, like man, you got me fucked up. Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah, Richie gets up out of there, and now we get to the young boys, Chris and not Chris, but Matt and Sean. They're sitting around. Beavis and Butthead will do. Chip and Dale, they're looking around. They realize there's some shot callers, the dudes with money that they imagine, at least in their head, that's what they believe. And they realize that, like, bro, we some busters. We got to make a play. And this is where they conspire to go after Chris. We don't get that directly, I don't believe, but I believe that's where the plan was really set forth. Anything y'all gather from this small scene here?
I think they did a decent job of setting it up from the two capers that we seen them on to having a conversation with Richie to right here thinking that their life, well, to the Furio thing to right here, like, damn, man, we some losers. Like, what can we do not to be losers anymore?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it played out. It checks out.
Meadow and Carm, they're in the kitchen. They're having this argument. And Meadow is just like, I know you went into my room. And don't deny it. And I thought that was funny because that was kind of tying the call forward to the line I was saying before, which is a Tony line that I use this like around the house all the time. My wife and daughter is like looking at me crazy because I keep saying, don't deny it again. Like, and they just look at me crazy because I keep saying it. But I don't know why. It's always a Soprano line to stick with you. You kind of keep saying it throughout the week. I don't know if that happens to y'all. But that last week, the Briggs and Tunnel boy, chill out. Like I keep saying it, like whatever. So, but nonetheless, what did y'all gather from this quick little scene that was Meadow going back and forth, but then Carm backs up and chills out, and then Meadow kind of like thank you and goes about her business. What did you think about this interaction, Rich?
The first thing that stands out is that none of us would have been able to get this shit off. Talking to Carmella in that tone and that voice, talking to our mamas that way.
Man, come on.
Hell nah.
Come on.
It's the privilege of
the house to live in, nigga. Unless you had somewhere else to go.
Exactly. Like, you know, my room, my way, all that stuff, man. That's a big no. Your room in my crib. What you talking about,
boy?
But I just like the fact that this is the first time we've seen Tony or Carmella like try to figure out this parenting thing and realize, all right, the way we've been doing things ain't working. Let me just say you're right. You are 18. You know what? I'm going to take this off my shoulders. You can do what you want to. And kind of that reverse psychology. Meadow didn't have anything to say. And I think that's really what Carmella's looking for. She just doesn't want to keep going back and forth with the children about shit. Like, all right, then cool. This is what it is. At the end of the day, she knows she still run things.
Okay.
If you think you got control because I'm saying that, okay, I'm sorry somebody went in your room, I had that little headspace of yours to think that you in control. But I'm really running things. Like, she's trying to figure out how to play the game, the parenting game.
Okay. What do you think, Spike? Do you add any more to that, or?
I think, that scene is a good prelude to the next scene when Melfi asks, shit, I lost my train of thought. Melfi asked him about when he's telling her about giving her the car, and well, you knew how she would react to it, but you still did it anyway. And she goes to it. It's kind of like her cutting her teeth. Same thing with Carmella in this instance. I feel like she knows Meadow is about to be out of the house, and she knows like belittling her, making her feel like a child about some bullshit about the room. It's only going to push her further away, which she's already been struggling with this whole episode. So you know what? I'll let you have this. You are being an adult. You are growing up. I'm going to show you what it's like to win an argument. Well, to almost have that independence as an 18-year-old that you're always looking for. So just like I think it was a great lead up to the scene with Tony and Melfi as to where Melfi was explaining to him why he gave her the car. It was the same thing with Carmella in that sense of the argument. Like, this is she conceded because, like, okay, you're growing up. You're going to need these wins in your life to feel more of a woman. So I'll let you have it.
Yeah. Wow. That was both y'all very well put. We get the Tony and Melfi scene, man. The Soprano formula, the way they're moving and twisted is like, bro, that's what made them so innovative. Because it's like this episode, you kind of almost be like, who's the main character? Like the way the formula, like last episode, D-Girl, like they're afforded to do these things. We got Melfi driven episodes, and then we got Melfi light episodes, then non-Melfi episodes, and then so it's like they keep flipping the television formula, especially at this point in the 90s, going to 2000s, so crazy. So it's really great because you forget, oh yeah, we ain't seen Tony. It almost felt like a breath of fresh air for a second, like, oh yeah, this is about Tony. And I'll speak a little bit to my sentiment to that when we get to like our grading scale at the end of that. But Spike, you kind of said something, alluded to this, but Rich, what did you think about what she was saying? I was trying to kind of understand about, well, you knew you gave Meadow Eric's car. You knew what it was. You knew she knows kind of about what you do, so to speak, but you kind of just flaunted it in her face. Like, what did you think about the advice Melfi was giving them, like Tony's kind of thought process here?
Whether he knows it or not, he's preparing her for, like, this is the world, not necessarily the real world, but the world that I'm from. Like, this is what you were part of. This is where everything that you love, the college that you're so worried about getting into, all of that comes from this place. So whether he subconsciously knew or intentionally did it, I think he intentionally did, because he said it, like, I'm not giving this car back, regardless of, like, this is how we earn things around this house. You know what I mean? So you got some nerve to be turning your nose up at it because when it works in your favor and you get something that you want, you don't got nothing to say. You never deny anything because of where it came from. So don't be trying to act like this now. And I think it's his way of saying, like, Meadow's 18. She's on her way out. She needs to understand that this is how the world works, at least our world. Being a little bit more open and honest to it, and leaving the nest and the connection with the ducks. That's just a Dr. Melfi thing. The happy wanderer that she brought up, all of that.
Yep, and she did a great job of pointing all this stuff out.
Yeah, she did. I like it, and I agree. Well said. Great scene, and this was actually one of the really just a sidebar, fly Tony suits. I don't know if y'all was really tapped in here, but he had like this kind of olive grayish suit with this little burgundy tie, white. It was really fly. It was just calling it out because that's what we do here at Good Earners. But yeah, and
also,
yeah,
my fault. Just one last little thing about that scene is Tony is. It's almost like Tony's afraid of progress. Like they're making a breakthrough in his his therapy sessions, and it's almost like he's pushing back. He's time's up. I don't want to say no more. I don't really know what that's about
because we get into a real circle. Yeah, like you're telling me that I did something good and I think I did something bad. Like, yeah, I don't want to do this no more.
Yeah, I think it speaks to what we talked about in the pilot. At the end, Spike was talking about earlier, even in this episode. It's like the moment we have to come to the conclusion of things is the moment that the party's over. You know what I'm saying? This thing of ours is over. This whole shebang is over. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why Tony has such a hard time with death. It's so final. It's so conclusive. I think he doesn't really like that idea. And then the reminiscing is a part of it too, because it lets you know time is running out. So he has a real issue, I feel like, with completion, things ending. I think he really doesn't like that. You know, even when we'll get a later scene with him and Bobby, them being morbid, you know, and so it's like that is like a thing of his that he don't really like to think about, which, you know, we'll get a later dope scene about that. But just a good scene here. Christopher walks out of this office. It looks like he on a big dog money phone. He's making a business play. He's walking out. He's and Sean pulls up. They've been watching too many rap videos, bro. Let's just be very honest. He pulls up. Hey, Chris, what's up? He got the strap down. It's tucked in. He reaches out and he shoots at Chris and he lands. And then Matt does the same thing. Now Sean gets stuck in the seatbelt. He didn't take his seatbelt off, and then he get capped in the head. Now Chris has shot him in the head, but Chris is going back and forth with Matt. Matt has ran off, and Chris is laid there in the ground, bleeding. How dope is this scene, bro?
Y'all caught that seatbelt reference, right?
Oh, what is it?
Remember last week, Livia telling AJ about the seatbelt? Don't wear your seatbelt in the car.
Yeah, because you can get talking about the dude that got choked and shit on there.
Yep, dude that got choked out because he had yeah, man. This very next episode, he got killed because he had a seatbelt on.
Wow. It was. You're right. That's a
great callback. That's why you're here, brother.
Good proof.
Because you can't nobody do it like how you doing, you know what I'm talking about?
Snap.
Yeah, but yeah, this it's a great scene. It really I imagine in the 90s, 2000s, this was probably really huge of a kind of a cliffhanger here. This was huge because this would be an ideal situation of a character like Chris. He could die right here and it'd be over. We'd be like, oh man, dang, season 2, we were rooting for him. He got his own episodes. He could have been out of here, but they let it ride. So this is really good. I don't even know what the writers were thinking. Like, do we kill him off? Do we not? It's amazing because that's how it happens. He gets focused. He finally gets it. He's out of here. Like, we'll see that a lot now in television, but I think it's just really dope that they did this. And then Matthew, he runs to Richie and he straight up tells him like, yo, we went after Chris. We shot at him and that's what it is. And we riding with you and Sean is dead. And Richie's like, wait, who told you to do that, bro? What is you on? Like, who told you to do that? I never told you. And he's like, and Richie's already at a high stress level because he's thinking he's already mad about the jacket and everything with Tony. But now it's like, bro, this looks even crazier now. Because now somebody then went after him. It looked like I had y'all do it because I told you if you can do anything for me, then, you know, let me know. Anything I get from this little interaction between them two?
Everything you pretty much said, man. Why the fuck are you here?
Bruh.
How'd you pull me in this bullshit?
Man.
Like, you guys are fucking nimwits. I don't even fucking know y'all. This guy, from even having a slight meeting with y'all, that y'all come to my spot. This is the bullshit that you bring to my door. And I don't need this with Tony right now, especially right now. I know Chris is his man's, and you coming in here, you're bullshitting with me. You spoke to it earlier, Mo. Like, I'm captain now. I got my own shit going on with the DVDs. Like, I don't need any other bullshit as to what Tony don't fuck with me. Like I'm having dinner over his house every Sunday, and all of a sudden I got some jerk off coming in here telling me, "Oh, I shot Chris because you don't like it." Now I got to deal with the repercussions of that.
No, you trying to get me caught up in some bullshit. I smoked half a piece of joint with you.
Right.
You feel me? Like I ain't smoke all that bud. I smoked half a piece.
Right.
Now Big Worm want to shoot me.
Right.
Yeah, hilarious, man. And then of course we get the last scene. I feel like we need the soap opera music. Boom, boom, boom. And Chris is in the hospital, and Tony is in awe of Christopher being in the hospital as well as everybody that is there. And that is our episode.
The only episode outside of the finale that doesn't end with music in the credits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a great. Yeah, that must have been so innovative at that time. I can imagine people was probably like, "Dang, is he gonna live?"
This is a big Sopranos moment.
Yeah, like it's Chris.
Yeah, this is Chris. Exactly, this is Chris. And I imagine back then it's like, bro, Sunday has to hurry up, bro. I need to know. Like, I can only imagine, like back then.
Because in season 1, when Tony gets shot, you know they're not gonna kill off Tony. You just know that. We in season 1, that's not gonna happen. But now,
oh yeah,
Chris might be out of here. You know, so that's all these other characters are expendable.
Yeah, we seen what happened to Philly at the beginning of the season. Like immediately, even though he wasn't a big character, but we seen right away he got shot for talking. Mikey, you know what I'm saying? So we know like what time it is. Mm-hmm. But before we get out of here, we like to, do a little bit of a ranking system here, and we double back at the end of our season review recap nonetheless. So before we get out of here, the first thing we do, I'm gonna throw the ball in your court, Spike Lou. This episode, what do you rank it? Is it made? Is it a good earner or just another envelope?
This is just another envelope. There's a lot of setup stuff, shorter episode, a lot of Carmela stuff, things of that nature. Like it wasn't nothing that really moved the needle for me, other than the end we talked about with Chris. But yeah, it's just another envelope.
Okay. What say you, Rich?
I'm surprised by that. I'm gonna be real. This is my first made episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's my first made episode.
Really?
It says everything that I would want from a Sopranos episode.
Okay.
I get the mob activity. I get great villain play from Richie. All types of comedy. Main character getting shot is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was kind of short and to the point. Yeah, some of the B plots weren't that good.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the jacket. All right. One thing a made episode for me has to have that iconic Sopranos moment. If I say the jacket episode in terms of the Sopranos, everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about. So that's why I have this as a made. It checks off all the boxes, man, and it's a different episode because it gets straight to the point. Like I said, it's only 43 minutes, and you get through so many ranges of emotions. You can't wait to see what happens next week. Like those moments, Chris getting shot and the jacket alone. I think I got to put it as my first made episode.
Wow,
I ain't mad at that.
Do you still feel the same, Spike?
Yes.
Okay.
I ain't mad at it, but I see what he's saying.
I like to see one episode where Spike be like, you know what? But speaking of that, I want to double back on last week's episode. I want to change my ranking of D-Girl to good earner. I said just another envelope, but where I rank just another envelope, like the down neck episodes, we'll get to the episode with Tony's dad's Gumar, like those really, we'll get to the episode Christopher. There are some really low Soprano episodes, and I'm like, okay, I kind of can't put a ton of these into just another envelope because there's ones that are really just another envelope for real. So I want to say last week was a good earner. In this episode, I'm gonna go good earner. I want it to be made, but again, made episodes are probably gonna have Tony led story plots. It's very hard for me without the Tony lead. What they did really good on though is the fact that like the formula was so flipped. You kind of try to be like, wait, who's the episode about? And that to me, if you got to look back and like, wait, who was it? What was the story? Who was it's fire. Is it Richie? Is it the young boys? Is it Chris?
Speaks to the greatness of this show though. Like you said, we all gave 3 different rankings. I mean, and it just speaks to just the different things that ring out in different episodes to different people. That's why it's
Just
one
like
of the best TV shows ever.
Yep, just like the Sopranos world, everything's relative. Just like the jacket. It's
Yes.
important to one person, but it ain't important to somebody else. Like that's how the jacket. But I said something about this earlier. Sometimes in my ratings, I try to think of it as not. I'm rating this episode as I don't know what's going to happen moving forward.
Yes.
So that plays a small part into my rankings as well, because like I said, things once you've seen this over and over, you know the big hitters. Now, if I'm thinking about this in real time, I'm watching it. This is all I've seen of The Sopranos. Like that's a hell of a moment.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's another reason why it kind of got into that. It's hard to wear both of those hats.
Yeah,
because we know it so well. But I try to take that into account as well. I don't want to just give out maids, but I had to. I think this was worthy, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's hard.
But I understand exactly what y'all are saying. I get it.
That's why I'm like, I can't give it just another envelope because we got low ones. But I want it to be made because it's just the Chris getting shot like in real time. If you watch this in the 90s, I imagine it's like, bro, I did not see that coming. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, is he gonna live? I imagine like, bro, this show is fire. Like I can only, So I don't know. I may double back when we get to the end, when we go back through the rankings of everything. This may come back and be a made one. But Spike Lou, who gets the Good Earner Award of this episode?
The Good Earner Award of this episode goes to Carmela, man. Ooh. She was 10 toes down in what she wanted to get done, and she got that shit done for the most part of what we seen. So yeah, I got to go Carmela.
Nice. What about you, Rich?
Double down. It's Carmela. Now I don't even know if it's close. Carmela, so she went after. I know against all your points, Mo, but she really went after and got everything that she wanted in this episode.
Yeah.
And even even had a conversation with Meadow that didn't end in an argument. Right. That's a win for her.
She big girl, her. Yep.
I don't want to do it. I'll go Carmela. Dang. I really wanted to say Chris because he got his girl back, but because of how it ended, I can't give it to Chris.
Yeah.
You know, but boy, I wanted to. If he didn't get shot, he would have got it for sure. So I'll go Carmela here as well. Spike, who gets the Broken Balls Award?
My man's in the wheelchair. What's his name?
In the wheelchair?
Beansy, yeah, Beansy again, man. I ain't asked for none of this bullshit, man. Even me just voicing my opinions to Tony. I got like Richie coming to see me again, talking about putting my arms where my legs at, like my wife stressed out because y'all popping up at the house out of nowhere. Like, bro, like I just want to live my life as a cripple, man. Just leave me alone, bro. So it's Beansy.
I like that one.
What about you, Rich?
I had a couple contenders. You know, I had Jeannie and Joni down.
Yes.
I had Richie down, but I ended up landing on Sean and Matt. Just way out their element, disrespected the whole episode, weren't taken seriously. They tried to get their own respect, and one of them ended up getting popped. He out of here. The other one running away, screaming shooting back with his eyes closed. You just know that it's over for them. It's a wrap. It's in over their head. You know, they in those deep waters and they can't swim.
Yeah, I'll go Sean at this moment. I mean, it's really both, but I'll go Sean just because it's like, bro, you was like the aggressor and you got it because you kept your seatbelt on. It was just all good just a minute ago, literally. Literally. And it's like, bro, pow, your head shot. Like, that's the worst way to go, bro. Dang.
That even emphasizes more how they just not a part of this world. Like, could you see anybody in Tony crew dying that way? I died because I couldn't get up. Nah, you know your ins, your outs.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You know how these things work.
Yeah, you're right. Lastly, favorite moment. Spike Lou, what is your favorite moment of this episode?
When Carmela ran up on the when she ran down on the lawyer. Like, Joni, did not move off her position. Joni thought that she was gonna be able to big girl her with her big words and shit, and Carmela just would not go. And then finally getting her to write the letter like she wanted her to. That was my favorite moment.
What about you, Rick? Sorry, I'm thinking about a moment.
Nah, that's a good moment, man. I apologize, y'all, man. I know this is super low hanging fruit, but the jacket.
Good call. Good call. Somebody got to do
that's
it.
That's just. No matter how many times I see it, and what I really want to shout out is just James Gandolfini's his expression acting. Like it was so top notch, man. Yes, if you look at the contrast of him and Richie's face in that scene, it's perfect from an acting perspective, man. It's perfect. That's just like I said, an all-timer Soprano moment. The jacket, just him checking up on it the whole episode. That whole jacket moment, is mine. But I really like what Spike said too. That was Carmela was not taking no for an answer, and there's something I respect about that.
For sure. I almost went with Furio. Said, "Give me $1,000."
That was my second choice. That was my second choice.
Up too.
Give me $1,000. Like no, nothing. Like they did the accent just. But I'll go with it's probably underrated to me. But it's just like the way I even made a meme. You've seen it, but like Sean, the way Sean pulled up, like Chris, what's up? Like the pulling up, or like, you know, Matt doing like, yeah, he's my homie, like those little black references of like, you could tell they're new school, so they're edgy, listening to rap music. And so, but like the pulling up, like, Chris, what's up? And like pulling out the strap like that, like that's probably my favorite moment. Even though he got capped off, he just like one hand over the window, one hand with the strap down under the, like, I thought that was just, it was a cold moment, even though he got capped off. So
was popping, Kermit.
Yeah. What's popping?
Chris pulling up at Adriana's mom's house was probably my third place win. That's my bronze. That's my bronze.
That's the bronze joint.
Yeah, man. Chris was out here wilding.
He was really wilding, man.
That nigga pushed the door open and
everything. Like, give me that phone. But that is our episode of Good Earners reviewing The Sopranos, Season 2, Episode 8, Full Leather Jacket. You can find us on Instagram, GoodEarnerPod_Sopranos. You can DM us about just the show, what you like about it, what you're feeling, some theories. Some people that are well-versed, you may have a possibility. We got some future guests actually coming. We got a guest coming on the finale of this season, a well-respected page that I respect a lot, and they'll be here on the finale of this season. And then we got somebody lined up later down the road, so you never know. You know, we'll see what's up. Also, you can find us on YouTube, man. Leave some comments, reviews, man. Share it. Look, you cleaning the house anyway, you working from home anyway, man. Go on, pull up that Good Earners and watch us on YouTube if you ain't got nothing else to do. It's a fire pod. And also, you can email us, goodearnerpod@gmail.com, to reach out if that's your form of contact. Listen to the show, support, and remember, don't forget about it.